I really always get in the mood with the excellent sound intro that we have at all these streams, but really tonight, with the revelations from yesterday, this is a stream I've been looking forward to for like all day today. So this one's gonna be a fun one. But welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're here live for another episode of Pony Express Radio. I am, of course, Mr. RedHawk. Joining me tonight are two very good friends from another line of work I'm associated with. Ryan, welcome back to the show, man. How are you?
Hey! Feels good, man. Feels really good.
Yeah, I always have a good time when we get to chat. And then Chesty, thanks for coming on, man. I'm very looking forward to this conversation with the three of us.
Yeah, it's good to be here. We live in interesting times.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, before we get started, gentlemen, on the news of the day, we do have to keep the lights on over here, so we must go through the list of our sponsors because we like getting paid here. So, first of all, everyone, we know we're in the grips of White Boy Winter right now, but of course, White Boy Summer will return once again. So head on over to Axios Remote Fitness and Coaching. Link is in the description, and JD will get you ripped in time for White Boy Summer to return once again. While you're at it, if you need a caffeine fix, head on over to Fox & Sons Coffee, good friend of the OGC for all of you coffee and caffeine drinkers out there. Link is also in the description. While you're at it, because we here at OGC are fans of big tobacco, pick up some Alp nicotine pouches. Link is also down below. And then, of course, as always, we must support our friends who are making amazing suits over at Vendrillo Suits. Link down below as well. Everyone can tell who's wearing a Vendrillo suit when we have our OGC events every single year. And you too could be looking sharp in a Vendrillo suit. And then finally, if you want to expand your historical knowledge of the America, please head on over to Tall Man Books, founded by our good friend, Mr. George Bagby, who's done some excellent work, brings some books from the 19th and 20th century back into print. So books that you can get nowhere else, please go visit Tall Man Books. All right, fellas. So funny enough, we originally, Ryan and I had scheduled to do this stream like 3 weeks ago, and then just all hell breaks loose yesterday with yet another trad e-girl. I couldn't believe this because I had like blocked this chick about maybe like 2 days after she appeared on the scenes because like, okay, all right, here we go. We got another one of these, just like the last 10, right? So I knew basically no lore about this chick until it started being plastered all over the Twitter sphere yesterday. But this one is just really chef's kiss. I mean, your marriage is blessed by the Pope. It's like, could it be any more perfect? Ryan, Chesty, do you guys have any opening thoughts on this one? Just the slop of the day, I guess, before we get into actually some more interesting topics and why we're actually here.
Well, what are we at now? 4-0? People calling us degenerates with our nice families and them sitting there being all ridiculous.
Yeah, it's at least at this point.
Yeah, I know the rational male. Rollo Tomasi's the bad guy, but he's got a pretty close to a 30-year relationship. No scandals under his belt, but everybody who calls Christ their Redeemer and gets mad at people if you won't scream on social media, that Christ is Lord. They're the ones having having affairs with bisexual men whenever they get the opportunity. So
it really is like the snake eating its own tail on this one, Ryan, because as you know, the $5 super chat that destroyed Jack Murphy's career came to us none other than from Eliza Schaefer's own show. So...
That's what I have a theory. I have a theory that the whole, because oh geez, guys, I feel bad about being this gossipy guy. I feel like Nero, but you know how Radfem Hitler was apparently blowing Schaefer to get on his podcast, and that came out too?
Oh, I didn't hear this, but I'm not surprised.
Oh, yeah, that's the new one. And then Jack Murphy's on that one. I'm wondering, is this some kind of weird wife swapping scenario? And that's why Jack got so mad at Sydney for like, what's with the Cook article? He's like, hey, we talked about this. Mutual destruction. Come on.
Oh man, the only thing we're missing is Horatio Troonblower, to be involved with this too somehow.
Yeah, I don't think it. I think nobody wants Cernovich anymore.
Cernovich is a cancer wherever he's at this point. But the thing about Mike is I liked him much better when he was on cocaine. But that's just me.
And ayahuasca, and now it's all over.
Yeah. He found himself, and he found himself very boring. So that's what happens sometimes when you switch from what from orange juice to Tang or vice versa.
Well, I mean, all right, Ryan, you said that like we hate being like these kind of gossipy kind of people, but trust us, guys, there's a reason for all this madness here, right? So, I mean, why are we
there's
even
many reasons.
yeah, why are we even talking about this like really in general, right? Well, because as people are well aware, the Manosphere, Red Pill community, whatever the hell you want to call it, we're here to talk about some of the lasting legacies of that movement, if you even want to call it that, but we have been dealing with criticisms from all manner of these tradcon kind of characters for so long, who basically give the advice for young guys is, hey, go meet a chick in the church. If she says she's traditional, that means she immediately is, and this is how you guys are going to get through the modern day dating marketplace in 2026. And how many times do we have to see at this point that this is just not working for people at all? I mean, I grew up in a traditional household, Roman Catholic, went to church, went to all the Catholic schools and everything. And it just completely destroyed all my expectations for relationships and what women are like. This isn't us like, to bash on people for believing in Christ or going to the church or anything like that. It's not what we're talking about here. What we're talking about is this same line that we kind of get from boomer conservatives in many walks of life, whether it relates to the economy, the housing market, whatever. But also the advice is always just go to church, guys, find the chick right there. So what are you guys?
It's crazy how many women were looking for redemption going to church. Yeah, actually, you know what? Here, like, there's a bigger problem, dude. Not even them. Like, look, they're a bunch of tards. They just wanted to get laid and do coke and whatever they were doing. It was, and this is not anti-religion, but it's anti how it's being applied right now. There's a naivete. As soon as somebody joins it's Team Blue up here. I guess you guys, it's Team Red or Team Evangelical or Team Christian, and they're welcomed with open arms with no conditions. And so I'm just watching people constantly getting taken advantage of by somebody who walks up, it's like, hey, found Jesus. I mean, Milo Yiannopoulos, didn't he say, hey, I prayed the gay away, and they're like, come on in, sir. These people here, oh, we just found Jesus. Thank God for that. Jack Murphy found Jesus, and it's not a sincere turning to Christ. And there doesn't seem to be any qualifications on it. Oh, okay, so you're in church now, so all you got to say is God is great and love Trump. It's like, no. And I understand the idea of redemption and forgiveness, but doesn't there have to be, like in the red pill thing, we have this great article. It's called like Real Remorse versus Naugahyde Imitation Remorse, where you're like, you take back your cheating wife, but there's like a little checklist of things you look for to see if she feels bad that she got caught or feels bad that she actually hurt you. And you never see anybody applying these to these people. And so this is the 26,000th redemption arc / betrayal in the conservative community or whatever you want to call it. And at what point do people have to look to themselves thinking, maybe I need to stop being so trusting,
Well, I think part of it too is that people view, the Christ in a very, very two-dimensional way. And when they apply Christ's teachings to themselves, they just immediately say, well, I just got to put Christ on me as a skin suit and treat others as I think that he would treat people. And I'm okay with that. As I like to say, Christ died for our sins. I don't have to. And what I mean by that is his view of redemption, forgiveness, what your path is to the afterlife is different than my how do I need to deal with you on a day-to-day basis. I can forgive you, but I can completely separate myself from you, socially, physically, emotionally. My acceptance of you doesn't mean I have to accept everything about you and include you in anything. I can say, okay, yes, you're forgiven. Now, great, get the hell away from me. I have no, obligation to continue any types of relationships with people who have shown in the past that they're untrustworthy or that they don't understand how to treat other people. And even if they are Christian, and even if the doctrine says, okay, well, if you do certain things, there's a good chance you're going to go to heaven because you've checked these boxes, I can still say, I believe you to be a horrible person. I can express how horrible of a person I think you are, and it's still not antithetical or hypocritical to any of my Christian beliefs if I hold any. Christ died for your sins. I'm not. And that's how I believe people should view these folks, not as examples of who to become or that everybody is redeemable. Yeah, some people are redemptive, have redemptive qualities. However, some people are just getting baptized to, say, well, just in case. It was just like, Scott Adams at the end,
Yeah, Pascal's wager.
Yeah, decent guy.
Did he really pull cringe on his last days?
Oh,
Jeez.
absolutely. He basically said in his last hours, I accept, Christ as my savior. It's
Did he accept black people in his neighborhood?
well, maybe at that point, it's not going to affect him. But the main point is that he right, like RedHawk said, it's a Pascal's bargain where he hedged his bets. He basically, said, okay, well, what if there is an afterlife? And I like the particular afterlife that's described by the Bible, so I will accept Christ into my heart at the very end, hoping that doctrine will hold true and that there really is an afterlife. And if there is, then there's an opportunity for me to move on in a positive way.
That's such a cheating on the Sabbath kind of thing,
Well, it's not even just a cheating on the Sabbath thing. It's a dishonesty in your assumptions of what goes on, after you die. And if your first assumption is that nothing happens after I die, and then when you're on your deathbed, think to yourself, "Ah, shit," I don't know if I'm going to go to hell or if it's just going to be blackness. So what I'll do instead is I'll go through the motions, and everyone around me will believe that I've done what I need to do based on doctrine in order to, reach some type of redemptive phase after I've passed. I don't.
So, just to to kind of set the stage here a little bit more for guys in the chat here. It's like we're not bringing up all of this like backstory about Christ the Redeemer and forgiving and whatnot, and that I don't have to be this great forgiver to have a theological discussion here. It's more so to just point out the fact that you as a man, the number one thing that people are always trying to get from you is your time and your resources, and a lot of people are going to get that from you in very cynical ways throughout your life. And just because hey, this church is a place where I get my theological fulfillment and or whatever you want to call it, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't people there who are going to take advantage of you, and you got to be aware of that, especially when it comes to people who are online.
Oh, the bigger group of not only narcissists, but untalented narcissists. Because if they were talented, and I'm speaking as a podcaster myself, if they were talented, they would have a job in Hollywood somewhere or Netflix.
That is such an important point on this. It's like the vast majority of people who are in the online influencer, grift space, whatever you want to call it, okay, are basically here because they could do absolutely nothing else. It's kind of like homeless people in the sense of like nobody just ends up being homeless on the street unless you've burned all the bridges with everybody else you've ever known. If you got friends, like, hey, I'll let you crash on my couch until you get your shit together or something. It's like this isn't like the downtrodden. It's just the people who are such unbelievable fuck ups and have screwed over everybody else in their lives that this is the position they've ended up in. I mean, let's look at the example here. Do you guys really think like Fit and Fag can do anything else? But now they have to be like dancing in, Shabbat, uniforms, whatever the fuck they're doing these days on stream. So
I can't believe he made anti-Semitism cringe to the anti-Semites.
He's stolen valoring like everything else he's done.
He's done more for Israel-America relations.
Well, here's how I look at it. There's a very short distance between theater kid and athlete pipeline. And I think in the grand scheme of things, most of the people who are online are just theater kids without a theater. And they essentially create their own ecosystem, and if it catches on, they believe that they've done nothing wrong, and that it's an attractive thing about themselves that makes it interesting, not necessarily the fact that a lot of the things that they say or do are
rehashed.
Yeah. I mean, they're rage bait, or that they give attention, whether it's good or bad attention. Like when you were a little kid, I'm gonna get attention by bashing my head into this wall, or I'm gonna get attention by being polite in a restaurant. Which kid do you want? Well, from the kid's perspective, it doesn't matter. All attention is good attention, and most of these people who are online at this point are simply looking for eyes, views, clicks, and engagement with their sponsors.
Case in point on that one, Courtney Nil. Do you guys remember this one? Do I need to? I guess your audience might not be savvy on that. She's the other trad girl that's always on Twitter, and no matter what happens,
she's the one who's got boobs that are bigger than your head.
Yeah, and anytime, like, oh my God, the Palisades are on fire, and then the meme was her standing in front of him in a swimsuit.
Yeah.
She's caught the attention of Milo Yiannopoulos saying, just so you guys know, I'm very vanilla and boring. I would never do this stuff. And right underneath, it's like Milo Yiannopoulos going, I see you now. I'll be back.
I know. Yeah.
But I mean, think of that husband too. That's another, like, if you really want to take home lesson from this, and I get it. Everybody doesn't like the bar sluts. Everybody wants a chaste woman, a virtuous woman, a woman that won't cheat on them, all of that stuff. And they're like, oh, to find him at church, I'll do this. Dude found her at church. Or he found her at church, got the Pope. The Pope is like, yeah, man, you got this. If the Pope can't save you, and he has to, like, imagine how he's going through all of this. She gets to sit here and being told that she was like a whore. Like, the entire internet tells you a whore. And he has to think like, dude, I was saving myself for this. For the rest of you guys, there's that great Archwinger lesson. Like, assume she's a slut, but don't obsess. And I guarantee you, every other girl will have skeleton, maybe not this bad, but they'll have something. And so you're better coming to terms with every girl is going to have stuff like this, and you better learn to find out how to be okay with that.
And
it's an ego check.
Yeah. And that leads to the rational male maxim. Any woman who makes you wait for sex, the sex is never worth the wait.
Yeah.
So,
the thing about this stuff is like, we're going to get into a deeper discussion here about like the actual history of the sphere. Right. But, so I had like the typical millennial upbringing, right? It's like the dad was working all the time, wasn't really, at home. And then when the parents split, the mom got the kids, right? So of course, who was there like to actually treat me or teach me how to interact with women, right? So after, 10 years of most of my, adolescent to early adulthood life of just struggling nonstop and listening to all this advice from either boomers who didn't know any better, or like women that are in your life, or even like my own family members, because like their marriages fell apart. So it's like, how good is their advice when their marriages fell apart, So, okay, I just come across the Manosphere scene in like 2015, 2016, right? And after, several years, really, because as you guys know, it really only takes like 2 to 3 years for a guy to actually start implementing the stuff into his life, because he could think, oh, if I just intellectualize this a little bit and don't actually do this and cut some corners and, maybe I'll find my way around it and stuff. But as I just experienced more with like dating scenes, what girls are like, what different kinds of women are like in whether you're going to meet them in the church area or from online dating apps or what have you, just more and more of this stuff that guys are talking about in the red pill just became true for me. It was just obvious. Like, I just saw it. It's like, okay, so assume she's a slut but don't obsess. It's like, wow, okay, I get it now.
Yeah, well, that's what I liked about it. It's one of the few spaces around where people were just writing down what happened. You can't make that, like, people would try to make things up, but people who experience things, you can tell. There's always a tell. Nobody else does this. Everybody else always has theory crafting, or they make things up, or they say what that should be, the oughts. Or I guess just is. And a lot of the stuff is very unpalatable and immoral sounding to some people, which is fine. Don't use it then, but be aware it's out there. It's the same thing. It's like not having a naivete. And it's like such a great resource. When are you ever going to hear about some dude in the hood and his hood rat problems? Never. And imagine that actually coming to help you with dating. What's the chick's name again? Sarah Stone or whatever?
Stock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, like chicken. Nice.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's like
Timu
the
Lauren
advice.
Southern.
Yeah, really, it's kind of crazy how similar they look alike, isn't
A
it?
Southern from a different mother.
Yeah.
Mm.
They're making them in a factory somewhere. I saw like a meme going around. Like they're pumping them out like T800s. No, but it's like, okay, so all right, I went through the the ringer, so to speak, of trying to approach like chicks at church, right? And the thing that you quickly find out is the ones that are like actually good and actually want to be chaste and actually want to be like the stay-at-home moms and stuff, they get married off to some other Christian guy when they're very young, and that's it, But you're not gonna the ones that you find, they're like in their late 20s or 30s or something like that. They're either there as converts, which means that they're likely there to save face for some bad behavior that they've engaged in. And because the church and the broader conservative movement in general just can't help but bend over backwards for women converts to their thing. Or the other part of it is this woman has had some kind of, defect in her ability to lock down a guy in some way or another. And that's why she's here.
Well, I think too, whenever a woman tries to parrot, the red pill talking points and say, well, I'm just like you guys, and tries to either gain a following or gain an army of simps, we know immediately what the what
Oh yeah, we know the
what,
score.
what the true intentions are. She wants to find a dude at some point.
Guys, remember Kate?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She found a man, haven't seen her since.
Yeah.
She just disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, dead's in sushi. She found somebody to overlook her face.
Yeah.
But
Then the urge to just shit on guys all day just disappeared overnight. Crazy how that works.
I know, it's amazing. It's like the OG though obviously was Lacey Green. Chris Reagan and a bunch of other conservative guys eventually turned her from a raving feminist online to raising a couple of kids and hardly any online presence at all now. It's always been said a woman is just one good dick away from being a feminist online, and
very true.
And that's generally what cures the need for online validation is the validation of somebody who won't put up with her shit.
And so true in that regard. And this is one of the things that I remember when I first started getting into this online scene back in like 2019 when I was making like more political content and stuff. And I would always get in fights with these trads because their recommendation was, oh, you need to find a girl that's going to share your values, right? You got to vet for values and what have you. This is before, obviously, Sam Hyde had his famous quote, it's like the woman who's going to agree with you is a man, and a man with Asperger's. Which is just so perfect, right? Yeah. It's like, people have just been raised in this egalitarian nonsense since the time that they were born, that women are going to have the same concept of honor, politics, just theoretical thought in general, values, whatever you want to call it. It's just going to be the same as men, and they're just going to rationally come to these arguments and these opinions, and that's how we're going to make a great relationship when the two of us get together and sign on the dotted line and shake our hands till death do us part or what have you. And because like the rule book says, man. Yeah, it's like, oh, the rule book says I'm going to point to this Bible, the woman's got to be subservient to the man, yada yada yada, and how many think about
how weak a statement that is too.
Oh yeah.
Read the book. Did you see in the book I'm supposed to get a blowjob on Jesus's birthday? Come on, man. Can you imagine being I'm the patriarch of the home and I got the rule book to prove it?
Just do
like you're not playing the Lakers. What are you doing? That was a foul, coach. Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. I mean, between keeping score and Corinthians really doesn't matter anyway. It's not a fun part of the Bible, guys. Come on, we don't really need to read it literally. I mean, I'm more into the Timothy portions and some of the other feel good parts of the Bible, and that's one of the problems with emotionalism trying to butt heads with empiricism, and then you throw theology on top of it, and it's just a mess of an argument. It's like saying, well, these parts of the Bible make me feel bad. Therefore, I will not pay attention to them. And because I also won't pay attention to the parts of the Bible that say that I, as a woman, aren't supposed to speak or teach in the church, I'll do it anyway. And in fact, I'll help, make complete portions of Christianity, certain sects of Christianity, like Methodists and Anglicans, we're going to have female pastors now, and they're going to give a female slanted message on, what they think Jesus thought.
Yeah, the Archbishop of Canterbury, for the first time ever, is now a woman. And in her first sermon, she was bitching about misogyny.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when your entire system is predicated upon patriarchy. Gets a dressing down from Sarah Lynn,
Church marm.
from the portion of of Christianity that was created solely for the purpose of male heirs and divorce. Like, not only do you suck ab initio, as a section of Christianity, as an Anglican, now you're just going to completely ignore portions of the Bible. But again, it's more about watching what people do and not what they say.
Totally.
Everybody can preach what they want on Sunday, but it's what they do to get rid of their hangover on Saturday. I think that matters more.
Well, I guess the pushback that everyone would get, and it's the same arguments that you guys longer than me, but guys like us in general have been facing for so long. So, Chesty, if you would explain a little bit of your background, if you care to share with the audience. But why is it, Chess, that you feel like you have any degree of authority to talk about the conservative movement in general? Why is it? Why can you talk about the relationships between men and women within like a church setting or something like that?
I was a primary speechwriter for a number of different Christian-based men's authority groups, including the Promise Keepers during the early 90s. So I know about the business model of conservatism and conservative Christianity based around men's grievances. But beyond that,
subtle slight, love it.
But I mean, you go to a march in Washington D.C. with 900,000 people, and we're all there to essentially give the message to everyone to man up and save the West through Christian values, and it changes absolutely nothing. That should give you a bit of a background on why I approach things the way that I do when it comes to conservatism in general, and the relationships between men and women particularly. Background as far as why would you care about what happens to men in their relationships, and why do you think it's important to teach people outside of the I guess common knowledge of how boys and girls should interact with one another, and what type of chases need to happen in order for guys to succeed with the opposite sex? And I would just say I've lived a very different life from a dating perspective than most of the people have today. I was never had any difficulty getting girls. It was always an issue of keeping them because of my desire to simply not commit. But at the time, it was more about just having an abundance mentality and having a roster than it was about creating relationships for a long period of time. But when I did find the right person, I certainly didn't vet. I based it more on peaks of
Time?
I guess, well, yeah, peaks of passion, acts on her part of contrition and I guess acceptance of who I was as a person, as opposed to trying to change me, if that makes sense. And in the long run, it was the person who backed the vision and not the person who wanted to be the center of attention. And if you get a person who is that into you, you know, that's the type of person you want. You want the ride or die. You don't want to be the person who's out there chasing. And so my biggest test, I guess my Batman origin story in all of this was an illness. I had gotten sick, wasn't necessarily sure what it was. I was misdiagnosed with cancer. I went through chemo, got some Hodgkin's symptoms because it destroyed my immune system. You know, the weight gain, the stretch marks, all the grossness of, cancer therapy on top of it, lost a lot of hair. It was just, I was just a mess. I was,
and you have nice hair too.
Yeah, thank you. I was 330 pounds and miserable and sick, and I wasn't sure what was going on. And my wife at the time, I just was 2 years into my law practice, just out of law school, and my wife at the time was getting the message from all of her friends: you need to drop this dead weight. You need to get away from this fucking guy. He's gonna drag you down. You're gonna be with a sick guy for a couple of years, and then eventually, if he does get better, he's not going to be the same. And if he dies, you've wasted a number of years of your life, with a losing cause. And what redeemed her with me was the fact that she just basically told all those people to fuck off and pound sand, and stuck with me. And she's been well rewarded for it. And with my her and my alleged kids, and it's just been one of those things where it's been win after win for a very long time, because I've implemented many of the strategies, red pill praxeology, not only into my personal relationships, but into my business relationships, and how I deal with individuals upon first impression. People need to meet my standards, but at the same time, I'm not autistic enough to believe that I need to check off a bunch of boxes with everybody when it comes to personality and fit. You just have to be attractive and not be unattractive. That is the main lesson in life when it comes to any relationships in any sphere, whether it's, personal, political, ecumenical. If you don't like yourself, you're not going to like your God. If you don't like yourself, you're not going to like other people. If you don't recognize what you want, you'll never choose a good politician. And if you don't know what you want, you'll never choose a good mate. So that's my reputation. And beyond that, I am also known as the keeper of all secrets and the eater of all sin. And one of the reasons why that's important is because the one time somebody challenged me to a boxing match, he said
I forgot about this.
He said he was sorry and that he didn't know who he was talking to in under 20 minutes. So just let some deep lore. That's
deep lore for anyone. I totally forgot that he did that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he started along the same path. You sound like you're low IQ. I don't like what you're saying.
What's the average IQ in Sudan?
Well, I mean,
wasn't Elijah Schaffer getting crap for everybody for not being, virginal? Everybody projects their perception.
Well, at least on his affair partner, yeah, she was waiting for her husband, or her husband was waiting for her, I guess. And that, And the Pope was none the wiser. So I'm not sure about the powers granted to the pontiff if he couldn't I don't know, maybe smell it on people or touch their skin and feel some discomfort. But yeah, it's people are generally terrible. You just have to pay attention to what they do and find the ones that are less bad than the rest.
One of the standing criticisms of the whole sphere is that, oh, well, a lot of the stuff you guys talk about is just common knowledge to any, cab driver that you could have spoken to 3 generations ago. And my response is,
when was the last time anybody talked to a cab driver, though?
Well, I mean, that was going to be my point, right? It's like,
Yeah.
that's probably very true. But guess what? We're here in 2020, now 2026 now. So who actually is going to teach young men all of this stuff? All the male spaces are gone. All the dads have had their authority stripped from them. And the whole reason that the sphere came about in the entire first place was because throughout many, yeah, exactly. But many of the, let's just call it, the political and societal changes over the last 60 years has stripped men from their political, economical, and spiritual position in the society. So it's like, okay, well, what's left? Apparently just anonymous forums on Reddit. It was the last place on earth. And they're still trying to take that from us.
And you got to admit, though, the anonymous forum thing, everybody always laughs like, oh, look at the nerds on the online anonymous thing. Didn't America get founded by like basically anonymous forums?
Yeah, conspiracies in back rooms, man. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
what was his name? Ben Franklin. Wasn't he too? He had a sock puppet.
Silence do good.
Middle-aged chick. Yeah.
He had 2 sock puppets.
Oh.
He was poor Richard, and he was Silence do good.
Yeah, but to put a point on it, there's a reason that's important, because if you're just talking socially, and we all see each other in real life every day, and we're talking to each other, there's a social cost attached with too much honesty. Like if you're with your wife or girlfriend out in public, you're having dinner, you can't exactly speak your mind. You might piss off somebody. You might lose a friend here. She'll get mad at you later. Anonymous is the only place where you don't have to be embarrassed or worried about any social consequence. You can just be honest. You can lie to people, but there's no reason to lie, really, other than fucking up votes.
Yeah, you could post race and IQ and crime statistics.
Yeah, but the point of this is, like, there's a level of honesty that you were supposed to get from pastors and preachers and priests and therapist and your barber and your buddies and your dad and your uncle. Like, I can go down the list of every single male influence or mentor that has failed in their responsibility, to the point that some former pickup artists on Reddit were like, oh, I guess that's here. You know what I mean? Like, it's a huge big deal, and everybody gets to be honest about it. And then everybody who experienced things can speak honestly, so that people who don't have experience can learn things. It sounds goofy, and it is kind of goofy, but it's lightning in a bottle. You can't really get that anywhere else. And it's not just for red pill space. Like, conservative spaces are like that. Politics is changing immensely after anonymous internet posting.
Well,
heck, isn't the whole reason Trump's here because them chick named Zoe Quinn blew a dude for a really crappy text game?
Yep. It all goes back to Zoe Quinn.
Yeah.
That's right. Everything goes back to Gamergate. And golf was basically invented for the reasons Ryan was describing. I mean, there is no need for the men's club, the country club, the original coffee houses in Scotland, where people got together and essentially formulated, Western thought in 30-minute snippets over a good glass of strong claret. I mean, can you imagine the amount of progress that could be made if, men who actually liked each other, got along, and didn't give a shit about, what other people thought of them, were allowed to go into rooms and just basically say, hey, this is how we fix shit?
Oh yeah, I mean, this is the conclusion that many guys and anyone who's serious at this point is like, oh yeah, we really need to get the wider populace all together and on board with all of our ideas or everything. It's like, no, every political change that has ever occurred to any degree of seriousness has always been done by small groups of men.
No, you need 15 multi-billionaires with an axe to grind. That's all you need. And this is coming from someone who knows at least 4 multi-billionaires personally. Shit can get done very quickly. And when it's mobilized via money, anger, and well-directed intention, a lot of things can get done fast. And that's one of the reasons why I get as frustrated as I do with our government many times, is that we have the ability, we have the money, we have the manpower. We just don't have the
there's just no will.
We just don't have the I don't give a fuck will.
Yeah,
that's necessary to basically say, go ahead and film me. What are you going to fucking do about it? Yes, I am taking this 13-year-old brown kid and I'm throwing him in the back of a vehicle because he doesn't belong here along with his mom or his dad. We're not separating families. We're keeping them together, and we're throwing them all out of the country all at once.
No, you can't hit me with a car, you bitchy lesbian.
Well, and
talked around and found out.
Right. Well, yeah. but that's the problem, is that we have a Kent State moment every time anybody gets offended anymore. You don't need to get shot in the head by a National Guardsman anymore. You just need to be upset enough and have a large enough reach to more suicidally empathetic people about, your sad little event. And it gets back to the powers that be, and they say, nope, we understand that we have a job that we need to do here. However, there's just too many middle-aged white women who get upset about this, and they hold way too much consumer buying power because of their jobby jobs and the fact that they do the vast amount of spending in the home. We can't upset those people because we're not willing to round them up and take their rights away. So what do you do instead? You need to placate the people who keep the lights on. And that's the biggest issue at this point, is that, we're catering to the children and the easily saddened. And if you ever want something to get done, you need to actually harden your heart, not open it up
100%.
to everything that everyone else is feeling. And until that takes place, everything's a platitude, everything's a promise, and my line comes back to haunt. Bros, browns, and bitches will not save you.
I love that one, by the way. It's just a banger.
Well,
it really is.
It's the problem, though. I mean, you get the handsome guys with the side part. You get the pretty girls who've kept their long hair, and you get your token, brown guys who you think are going to somehow turn on their brethren and do the right thing out of loyalty. And all you get is a giant shit sandwich.
Vivek Ramalama Bing Bong is going to save the American Republic. Yes.
Or I was thinking Patel.
Or Motel 6 is going to do fucking anything. Or Pam Bondi or any of these other chicks who look at their positions also as a jobby job, where they can pose for cameras and do all of these different public appearances and blow out the hair, put on the tapered power suit and get some rose on the cheeks, and just play pretend power broker while everything is going on in the background, and the real powers that be, or the real people who have learned how to game the system, are robbing the taxpayer and the treasury blind. Because at this point, I think Ryan would agree with me, is that taxes are simply out there to
mitigate inflation.
It's mitigate inflation. All of our printing and all of our bond sales to everywhere else and to ourselves are the actual things that fund our lifestyle as a nation. I mean, we're 39 trillion in debt, but that's only 3 times more than our GDP every year.
And you guys have a lot of advantages too that countries like Canada don't have, because so many people take American money out of the system. Like even Apple, wasn't it like $2 trillion or something like that they were hiding in Ireland?
Yeah, I mean, you can just take money, leave it on your balance sheet, and it doesn't go anywhere.
That's what I mean. And it's in Ireland, it's in a bank account there,
right,
and so that's money that's effectively out of the economy. Now, if they repatriate it back in, that's going to be an inflationary pressure.
Sure, and then all of a sudden people get a hard on when they do a quarterly announcement saying, "Oh, we're going to give you an extra 6% dividend on your held stock." Well, who gives a fuck? You're holding $2 trillion in cash. I mean, how's that hurting you in any way to give a little bit of a dividend to whoever's a stockholder? And the bigger problem, though, is that we've made the decision that we're going to have a permanent underclass. And with a permanent underclass, that means that you attach that permanent underclass to one of 2 political parties, because we've set ourselves up that way. Without a viable third party, in any of our elections, we are simply asking ourselves which is the lesser of 2 evils: immigration to provide cheap labor, or immigration for votes because they all seek public assistance. So
I mean, that's your choices at this point, right? It's like, okay, get replaced by Mexicans when Democrats come in charge, or get replaced by Indians when Republicans are in charge. It's not looking great.
No, because nobody is taking the average American citizen seriously, because what we're trending toward, and Ryan hates this, and I've discussed it with a lot of people, and they all hate it, and but I think it's inevitable at some point, is that all of the people who are currently on disability, and all of the people who either choose not to work or don't have the mental capacity to work in a way that's meaningful, all of those people are going to go on UBI, and they're going to shut down, the disability system, and they're simply going to slide everybody over to, you all get $1,000 a month. Go out there and stimulate the economy, whether it's buying weed, spinner rims. Who gives a shit? Just take this money and get out there and stimulate. Well, and once you do that, you can never be the party that says we're going to end universal basic income. Or you're going to have to apply for jobs in order to qualify for universal basic income. Oh, you put a requirement on my free money now? Well, fuck you. I'm voting for the other people.
Well, that's the other thing too. Some people need that, because that deaths of despair you were getting in the Midwest, people were getting checks for their back issues, but they didn't feel like they earn it. It depresses a lot of people. In Canada, they figured out, just give them Sisyphusian government jobs. 40% of Canadians work for the government. You know that?
Wow.
So it is kind of a form of UBI, and they're not doing important jobs. They're not doing passport office stuff. They're not doing cop work.
Well, did
I had one friend, friend of the old lady, her job was just like checking over the letterheads for a member of, like, not even a member of parliament, but like a really low end member.
Checking her
TPS
reports.
And everybody knows it's useless. And they kept giving them. And every time the economy gets worse, they keep offering more of these jobs. It's the bread and circuses. It's just UBI with a sense of satisfaction. So when you say they're going to give them just UBI without it, the only reason I don't like it is because I don't think it's going to work. I think people are going to be mass committing of suicide and drug use, and things will just like slowly fall apart.
Well, they're already doing that in your country, right? With
that makes sense.
They're already doing that with the MAID stuff, right? In your country, which is just.
Did I lose everybody?
No. No. Did maybe we did lose Ryan? I don't know. Rip. Chesty, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you just fine.
Oh yeah, maybe we lost Ryan anyway. But I don't know. I mean, to circle everything back here a little bit, you know, I mean, I know for a fact, just because of the audience that we have here, there's going to be a lot of you know, pushback a little bit on what we're saying, especially related to, you know, we'll call it the cynicism of, you know, the church and whatnot. But I think it's just the important thing the guys just have to remember is it's like you can have your own opinions on whatever it is about the afterlife, about the church and everything like this, but you just got to understand that in like other times, I truly do believe that guys kind of had a more of an understanding of what it actually meant to be a man and saying, okay, you know what? These are kind of the rules and the stories and stuff we say for the children, but men are actually going to get like real shit done in their lives on the outside of things. And not just be like so unbelievably like dead set to these rules. And I don't know if people want to say this is heretical or whatever. I don't really care. It's just that if your rules are setting me up to fail in 2026, then I'm fine with going to church. I'm fine with saying all the prayers. I'm fine with believing. But at the same time, it's like, if you're setting me up for failure with these expectations, like, why am I supposed to be bound to these things? You know, why do I have to be like, oh, well, yeah, you really got to wait till marriage, you know, for this girl, even though that all the evidence speaks to the contrary of how you actually get a decent relationship with a woman in 2026. It's like, I don't know about this, man. You know, it's just my own experience of trying it this certain way and now trying it the other way. It's brought me nothing but success. And why should I just have to intentionally handicap myself because, you know, I'm licking the ice cream, you know, for somebody else? Like this just doesn't hold water to me.
Well, and one of the common arguments for that is that same as, oh, I don't want to work out. I don't want to get too big. Well, I don't want to start using like running game on girls because then I'm going to end up as a cokehead who just sleeps with prostitutes. It's like, no, man. As a guy, it's deceptively hard. You have to follow through on everything.
So that's like the tail wagging the dog there.
Yeah. No. Do you really think that you practice like 5 minutes of mystery method, then all of a sudden you're going to be just like swimming in poons? Like, no, man. Well, I was like you, right? Divorced parents, late bloomer. I actually had to go to mystery method. I was in the military. I had no time for game. And so I'm like, I got to get better at this. So I just picked up a book, picked up the mystery DVDs, learned it. And I'm telling you right now, it took me a year to get like a solid walk up to a girl, say hi, and get from there to a date. So this whole idea of like, oh, you guys are degenerate, it doesn't work. It works fine. You don't have to just, and you could stop wherever you want to. I know what's the Mormon thing? Soaking? Does that make sense? You know the term? They figured out a way. Oh, I can be just as degenerate as the other guys, but still keep the God hole intact. Like, there you go.
Yeah, it sounds very Talmudic to try and think that you're going to be able to trick the all-seeing being in the universe. You know?
Well, I mean, and Catholics, they were like, I got 3 holes and only one's for my husband. Oof. Everybody figured it out. There's the Muslims did that hymen surgery, which is crazy when you think about it. Can you sew that thing back on for me? Yeah. And I don't mean to be flippant or cynical, and I get this might get people mad, but just understand, like, everybody kind of has a little bit of that Sabbath in them, like, well, I can't push buttons in the elevator, but if it hits all the floors, then, whatever, I just walk in and it happens. Everybody kind of figures out their little cheats, and you just do ones that you can live with, or at the very least, do something that you can be forgiven for later. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I was kind of a degenerate with that woman, but now she's my wife and we have 3 kids together. So maybe it worked out in the end,
Yeah, it's like, oh no, my now wife and I had sex on our first date, but we have a very functional relationship and we have 3 kids. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's right. The fruit of the poisonous tree, is better than the fruit of the virtuous tree. I mean, what do you say to that? I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that people are they're hopeful that if they follow a certain system that it'll all work out, and if a system is based on something that is pure, then the outcomes of that should be pure. That's the thought. That's
the thing is, like,
logical reasoning. But the problem is that the evidence of it, the actual outcomes that come from approaching life that way don't bear out those things. And I've said this very often that, horrible people sometimes live wonderful, fruitful, abundant lives. And Wonderful people often live terrible, solitary, destitute, and violently ending lives. I'm not sure that, one of those things is any better than the other, but they occur at the same time, at the same place, same timeline, as everybody else's lives. And I think that the best thing that the red pill or the, praxeology of being your own mental point of origin is that you recognize that you have the ability to adapt. And when adapting, do it in such a way that it brings other people into your sphere of influence. Don't do it. There's just too many people who think that, well, I'm going to have to make this change. I'm going to have to go into monk mode for 6 years. And then when I come out, I'm going to have to learn how to talk all over again because, I haven't spoken to a person and other than clipped yeses and nos and giving your name, at the coffee shop.
Just leave with your wallet, man. Come on.
Well, yeah, but I mean, but the problem with going your own way in many instances is that most of the people who claim to want to do that are announcing it as they're leaving. It's like, oh yeah, I'm leaving, guys. Don't try and stop me. I'm gonna go off and do my stuff all by myself.
That'll teach you.
If only they knew that I was a secret alpha male.
That's right. You're not gonna see me anymore. This Sigma's gone. You're never gonna be able to learn anything from me again.
I'm leaving the Manosphere.
Okay, I'm leaving. Yeah. Well, thanks,
and
Rich. We appreciate you having been here. But
ultimately, too, the thing about Chesty's example of the douchebag and the kind, pious man is there's a certain element of risk involved with life. And I find for a lot of the follow the plan guys, it's not so much that they think the plan works. It's that they want something else to be at fault.
Exactly. Oh, I'm so glad you said
yeah,
this.
if it's not my fault, then I can accept any kind of hardship.
100%.
Because I didn't set it. And that's the thing. They have a completely deranged version of risk. They think there's some existential risk. You always ask somebody who's ever worried about stuff, what is it you're worried about specifically? You'll never get an answer because it's a feeling. It's a feeling that they've had since birth. And there's like Dr. Glover talked about this a lot in No More Mr. Nice Guy, where it's parental strategies kind of ingrain this in this. For example, like kids who are raised by mostly mothers, either dads are at work all day or dads are divorced and mom's got them. Dads tend to parent by rules, follow the rules and you'll be fine. Mom's parent as in like shame and I need you to love me. So guys end up being raised trying to get validation from other people. And then this carries over. And this is where this ends up, where I need this because I don't want to be blamed for anything. Meanwhile, the douchebag, he's perfectly happy to burn bridges with dates. And then he learns like where that line is, where this is the line you do not cross with girls you're dating, with ones you're married with or whatever. Meanwhile, the pious man has never even come close. And that's why the douchebag is able to survive and have a happy life afterwards. He knows exactly what you're not supposed to do if you want to have a happy life. Whereas the other guy, and then the one time the pious man actually does stand up for himself because he's been stewing on something for so long, it ends up blowing things completely out of proportion. Yeah, which is another reason why they end up miserable.
Right. Yeah. The risk averse individual is unaware of their actual boundaries. Everybody has a theoretical boundary on just about anything. What would happen in this circumstance? Well, I'm not going to put up with this, and this is something that's a complete deal breaker for me. Okay, well, have you ever been in the situation? Have you ever added to the fact that you need to unwind years of monetary entanglements or figure out a custody schedule? Now, what are your boundaries after taking that into consideration? And that's the thing that most guys, who are risk averse, never really figure out is one, what they actually want, and two, when they see it approaching, how to, I guess, best insulate them from the issues, but still experience life. It's kind of hard to explain, but that would be what I would have to say is you need to be open to experiences, but you need to not be so open that you fall out of the box and onto the floor. And you no longer know exactly what it is that you want out of life because you've entered somebody else's sphere of influence, and that goes back to the concept of framing or frame. What is your frame of reference? How do you want your life to be lived, and how do you want to include other people in it? And if you don't know how you want to go about that, then how are you going to let this bundle of energy and and childish weirdness in the form of tits and ass enter your sphere of influence and try and control that?
This really cannot be stressed enough, especially in the current climate, and a lot of people in the audience can relate to this. In the example I'm giving or I'm about to give right here is that if you don't have a frame set for yourself, your energy is prime time to be used by other people for other purposes, whether it's for political movements. Oh, look at this great big shiny thing that the administration did today, or is this XYZ influencer said today. I got to give all my energy into this one thing that in the grand scheme of things really isn't going to do shit. Well, it just goes for so many things that if you can't get a hold on your own ego and understand that, hey, is this affecting me? Yes. Is this not affecting me? No. Should I maybe be thinking about something that is 1 or 2 degrees removed from me? Yes. God, it's so frustrating when people just get captured by, look at this big dangly thing over here today, man.
Well, that's how Overton windows capture people's frame. Like, even take the Minnesota example. They're basically, you're given 2 alternate opinions, a right wing and a left wing opinion on it. And so now everybody who doesn't have a frame looks at it that way. And here's the problem. Now you have 2 sides that are primed to fight each other. Tribe A, Tribe B, Pepsi and Coke. And it's not just that, it's everything. This one with the Sarah Stock, the whole reason we're here for that goofy hoe and the cokehead boyfriend. Everybody's given 2 thoughts on this one. Either she's a whore and he's a cokehead and they ruined that poor guy's life, or you guys got to stop being so mean to the women. The 2 sides of the argument have been given to you. And if you don't have a frame, you're going to pick one. And then you're going to dance by somebody else's tune. And it always costs. Somebody's getting paid out of this. Imagine that, giving your attention and your framing of like how you frame life to somebody so they can get paid, and you're going to do it for free. Like a cheap whore.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I'm included. I do that too.
Oh,
Don't get me wrong. I always throw the red pill framing out there, and you guys bite it. Well, not you guys, but some people bite it all the time. I at least try to give a nod. It's like, just so you know, we're fucking around here. It's fine. Hope you don't mind if I swear.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Okay, good.
No, I mean, but everybody.
But most people aren't that genuine about it, and they're more than happy to steal your money, even in the red pill space, especially here.
Yeah, exactly.
Remember when the guys were all about fighting feminism? Whatever the hell that meant.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I mean, I just like it when we just need to spread awareness, Ryan. That's what we need to do. We need to let everybody know what the statistics are and how they affect all of us. And
quick, Chesty, throw out another maxim, another statistic. That'll get the women to get in line.
That's right.
Infographic.
80% of all divorces are initiated by women.
Yeah. Great. Brought to you by Sexton James. Thanks, Rian.
Yeah. Well, and what does he do for a living? Yeah, he's a divorce lawyer, right? So I mean, it's not like he wouldn't benefit from the way things are set up. I'm going to tell you all of these things to avoid getting divorced. Number 1, don't get married. Okay, but if you do and things start to go sideways, I'm James Sexton. I'm licensed in New York. So
I did notice there was a large gap between the first and the second point. Just saying.
Well, that's
I think the other thing that's important to take from this as well is like this isn't like some like kind of moral call or moral judgment on somebody. It's like, oh wow, that guy's working in his self-interest. Look how terrible that guy is. It's like it's not what we're saying here. It's like you just got to understand the game that's being played.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, you weren't there when in the real early days though, Red. When you know, the Anthony Johnsons of the world and the Rollo Tomasis got along and they formed
I was there, Gandalf. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I was there when the old magic was written, which don't don't recite it to me. And back then the big issue was that you either were on there's a way to monetize this responsibly, or you can't monetize the red pill or Manospherian ethics at all. And that was always the original battle. I mean, I wrote an entire thesis
Bob Vila?
called Don't Blame Bob Vila. And and I essentially went through, you know, well, what does Bob Vila do for you, and why would he be worth paying? Well, he's got years of experience on building, and he puts out all of this material on how to build shit. And instead of you having to learn how to swing a hammer and use penny nails yourself to do the same thing, you can watch him and learn how to put together something important by, you know, investing some time and money, as opposed to learning everything from a stack of books someplace, you know, on a sidebar. And the point was that there were guys at the time like, you know, Ryan and Rollo and some others who were starting to branch out into, I guess, more, you know, mainstream venues in social media other than, you know, the Reddit subreddits. And put stuff out there and offer to do coaching and other things that would, you know, cost you a nominal amount so you could skip some steps in some of these things instead of having to learn them the hard way. And, you know, people like, these are some people that you'll never, or if you've heard of them, they'll bring back, you know,
I hate how
awful
I know who you're going to
memories.
mention.
Well, yeah, you know, like, it is written, the gay lube
88
oil.
Will. Yeah.
That's right. 88 Will, gay lube oil. These were all guys who wrote in the red pill space, and they said the farthest you can go with this as far as trying to monetize it may be t-shirts, but other than that, there's no way to build a business model around it. And even if you do, we will hate you for it, and we will try to tear you down because you've done it. And
Boy, that war was lost long ago.
well, that war,
feminists weren't the threat. The threat was in the house.
no
100%.
threat was always in house. And then even before then, the threat was you married guys aren't even really red pill.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, oh, well, you've already lost the battle from a, you know, from a philosophical perspective, because you can't imagine what it's like to try and attract a woman in today's environment, because you already have one. And that game is different now because of social media. And the point that we always used to make was, okay, well, that's fine, but I have to game the same woman every day.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to do as far as difficulty is concerned? You can simply give up on one woman and move on to the next. I can't do that as easily because of the entanglements that have been placed upon me by my own choices. So again, there are levels to this, and there is depth and breadth to it that a lot of people don't understand because of just the way things have developed and have you know, evolved over the last 10 years or so. And the fact that, you know, I'm saying 12 years in to my first appearances on Reddit, and almost 25 years in on writing for different groups to promote men's issues. I can honestly say that nothing's really changed that much. And the same lessons need to be taught to men over and over and over again. And it doesn't have to do with whether or not they're faithful or not. It has to do more with the fact that society is now set up in such a way that to be inoffensive is more important than being happy.
Yeah, very true. I mean, it really is amazing for me to kind of understand a little bit more now a lot of the things that I was listening to you guys talk about, back in like the late 2010s, about, oh, we're already in this cycle again, or we're doing this all over again. And I've caught on to at least like one or two of these now at this point. We're like, oh, wow, no shit. Like it really just is. We have this meme, when we're relating to, crime statistics or anything else. It's like, it's always the same map, because like no matter, like your issue, like Steve Saylor talks about like, oh, traffic instances, it's always the same map, right? Well, it's kind of always the same thing in this scene where it's like, wow, guys really always have like the same like 5 issues, and that's basically it.
Honestly, that should give people more comfort. It really, because things haven't changed. They're all the same, which means they're most likely having the same solutions. God knows there's enough guys. That's the one advantage I think we've had this cycle, and I'm going to take some credit for it, is that not one of us from the Usenet days till now thought to write it down. So you'd always have to search. Like right now, So Suave, Rollo's got the only So Suave archive from the Rational Mail. That's it. So now the fact that there's actually like you and Nuke and Jack and me and Chesty and everybody kind of like articulating this one, I think we got a real chance of some amount of longevity and hopefully more people not falling for the same cycle every time. But
and it's weird because we were talking a little bit before about having met up with different people and whatnot. When Ryan and I met up, we spent about 2 hours in a bar, and we basically broke down the exact number of different relationship types, relationship failures, and personal, I guess, issues that go along with those for men. When it comes to getting into and maintaining relationships, and all of the factors combined were less than, what was it, like 5 different types of relationships, 6 different type of excuses, and 4 different solutions that could be applied to any of those.
We're deceptively simple.
Yeah, and that type of distillation, over time, I think is important. And one of the problems that we had before was archiving. Nobody was writing anything down, and they weren't, and they were only sharing their experiences in such a way where it was very amorphous and could be, wiped from wherever very quickly. I mean, Chateau Heartiste, where's all that stuff? The Return of Kings, where's that stuff at? The Red Pill subreddit itself has been in quarantine for what, 7 years now? It's still there, but it's been in quarantine forever.
And even then, users delete things constantly.
Right.
Ultimate Cat, trying to find him in an archive, deceptively hard. Do you remember for like a 2-year period there where he kept changing his username every 6 months, some random shit?
Oh, yeah.
Like I remember Stacy's Mom Loves Me, and there was one like Dentine Ice or something, but I can't find that one.
Yeah.
And each one of them had like, and hundreds of people doing this. Everybody's got one good thing, and it's impossible to find it. It took me a year just to put together Frame because of that. And yeah, Chesty's right.
Books I would highly recommend to anyone in the audience, by the way. Ryan's praxeology books. Very, very good stuff in there.
They are. They're very good.
I mean, I didn't write it.
Well, you did though, because Dread is probably, and in my opinion, your best book, because it completely rewrote and fixed an abortion of a book that tried to explain the same thing about 5 years earlier.
I skipped the fuck me or fuck you chapter.
Yeah, well, that's a good one. And then the I don't know if Red, you're familiar with the Blue Pill Professor or the Levels of Dread book that he wrote prior to.
I never read it, but I'm familiar of this book. listened to you guys talk about it, but I never read it myself. No.
Yeah. Well, it had bad sequencing. It made assumptions. It created a lot of straw men and steel men situations that would never occur in real life, as far as how you would speak to people or approach certain situations.
It ended on a covert contract.
Yes,
Oh,
everything.
really?
Yeah. And so what you ended up with was an attempt. Let's just put it that way, an attempt. And what Ryan did, I think, very well was rectify the attempt and put it in a form that is actually usable and actionable. What was there before wasn't.
He had it like a 12-step AA meeting, which it really isn't designed for, and there is no single solution. And the whole thing is like you can win her back or win back another whore. It was like you said before when we were figuring out, it was like maybe 6 types of guys, 4 types of problems, that sort of thing. And you kind of, well, let's look at all of them then, because we have an example for every single one in there. Why not?
Right. And I think that having gone through this as many times as Ryan and I have, is not necessarily personally, but seeing the same archetypes of people and relationships over time, how people describe themselves and describe themselves within their relationships over and over and over again.
The other thing too about this, and this is something that you guys have talked about a long time with, once you establish and start working through some of this praxeology for yourself and actually implement it in your own life, it pools over into other facets, not just with girls, right? I mean, I find the relationships that I have with guys have improved greatly since I became like way more, I kind of fucking hate this term too, but it's the one we have, like red pill aware kind of deal, and the example you use all the time, Ryan, is like, oh, people start making more money in their jobs. You start taking yourself more seriously.
And I just found it was always like 25% ish, and it was just, but it's not like some magical pill. It's just guys were so unassertive that they would stop.
That's the key. That's the old term that everybody used to use before it became semi-offensive. Assertiveness, being assertive. Telling people exactly what it is that you want and being able to express it in such a way that you bring additional people on board to your vision and you don't repel them. This isn't the crypto guy trying to sell his token. This is you presenting your best qualities to a group of people in order to inspire. And
that's the thing too. You get so good at reading other people.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know exactly in many instances how they're going to behave when they're around women, and then when you see them behave a certain way around women, you know exactly what type of thumb screws they have and how you could take advantage of them in every other circumstance. It's not to say that you need to exploit other people's weaknesses in order to get ahead, but in some industries, particularly mine, if somebody has, a nervous tick or a tell or a way to show that they're being either dishonest or just trying to be a little too cute around the edges on things, and you're able to call them out on it because they're not going to either do something about it, or what they will do is going to be ineffective. You should use those things. There's a certain thing about being passive and meek that attracts a certain audience or attracts a certain type of person. Either they've been told that type of personality will inherit the earth, or they've been told that, those other people will get theirs, in the afterlife. You still live here now. You have to live with yourself and your earning capacity and, pay your bills today, regardless of what it is that you think is going to happen to you, when you pass on. So my advice is always to assert yourself where you're available to. let people know what it is that you're thinking if it benefits you, and go along to get along when letting people know exactly what it is that you're thinking doesn't benefit you. Shutting the fuck up is a superpower for a reason.
Oh, that's really is an important one.
Yeah,
Oh.
you have the ability to not have diarrhea of the mouth in every situation. And if you have become more assertive, you need to pick and choose your placement for it. And the only way you can do that is to talk with other people and become more familiar with your comfort level in public speaking, leading, hosting, that type of thing. Do you
knowing
want
when to quit.
Yeah, and knowing when to quit, exactly. Because there are some people who just they don't know, when they've either outlived their welcome, or they've made the point so many times that people begin to become convinced that you're trying to sell them something, as opposed to having a vision that they could, I guess, slide into naturally.
It pays. The whole thing just pays dividends. You come here looking for pussy and you leave with experience in the human condition. The one thing too I always loved about this was, I think, was it you or was it Carl Chesty used to say that Rollo red pilled us to women, but we're starting to red pill him to guys, because that was kind of his. He was good with women doing the Vegas stuff. That was
me. That was me. Yeah, I mean, I've had some pretty heart to heart talks with Mr. Tomasi, and we discussed some things about, business stuff, intellectual property things, some stuff that had to do with, just his branding and protecting himself, and watching out with his collaborations and that type of thing. And my thought is that for a guy who understands how men and women react, he's still, I think, his biggest weakness is that he trusts people too easily. Mm-hmm. And that's, not an indictment on what type of person he is. He's a great guy, very giving of his time. If somebody is really in, danger, mentally or feels a certain way, he's always
give you the shirt off his back.
Very, very available, to help you out, find resources if you're having difficulties. But he introduces some people based on recommendations from others that have, represented who we are, who I am, I guess, in the scheme of things, in a way where, you're always represented by your worst, or you're judged by your worst three offenders. And, for the most part, at least two of the worst offenders were put out there because of, trust and misplaced. So,
I'll say four. I say four. After that video of the dogs attacking Zach, I was like, oh.
Yeah. But you got to remember, though, that Zach then later on said, basically, the only thing that Rollo Tomasi ever did for me was introduce me to Anthony Johnson. So fuck that guy.
Well, he's 30 days sober now for the last 6 years, so that's good.
I get that.
He's on Substack now, so I just every now and then I read something of his, and I'm like, oh
man, he's competing with George Floyd now for Days of Sobriety. Nice.
Or Corey Capella with that coked out rant he did, or who was the other, Glenn or something?
Oh, God.
I can't remember. He did some live stream where he admitted to some illegal stuff, and I sent him a private message. I'm like, dude, you should probably delete that, because that's illegal what you just suggest. I can't even remember what it was.
Oh, yeah. God, there's just so many. There's so many of these guys.
Yeah.
Well, Robert Dino Nuggets.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna make it like a scrapbook. It's like perusing through your old yearbook. That guy committed a mass shooting.
In fairness, Donovan brought Kitten Holiday, so that was on him, not Rollo.
That's right. Well, Noah Ravoy is an Anthony Johnson guy. remember DDJ, the quote unquote paralegal, doing digging and doxing,
stalking the vegetables.
We've had some very, very, very bad representatives of what it is that we're trying to accomplish, and it was all done out of an abundance of hope for many of these people that they would, get their shit together. But some people are just either they're too dumb, they're too emotional, or they're too prone to flights of fancy about their importance to do anything that lasts for any period of time, And I admit that a lot of the guys that I see coming up now, even the newer guys, I had similar thoughts until they, quote unquote, prove themselves to me that they weren't of that, in that category anymore, or they weren't in the I got to look at you sideways and see what your intentions are before you go out there and do something weird.
Yeah, not to toot our own horns too much, but you know what, I think we're all right.
You guys are doing you guys are doing well. One of my first suspicions, that turned out to be unfounded, amongst you guys was Nuke. I was lukewarm on him for a while, and I had no clue what he was trying to do until he actually started doing it. And I'm like, yeah, I see this. I understand what he's doing. And there has always been the guys who will try to ingratiate themselves in a certain way, and you start looking at their content and you're like, well, this is unattributed work from a bunch of other people that I already know, so where's this going? And that's part of the issue, is that most of us don't
work for a living.
Yeah, well, most of us, right.
Very good point.
I got a job, I don't need to police this place, and I'm certainly not going to take any extra time to go ahead and do that. If you want to protect your own intellectual property, that's on you. But I mean, the bigger you get, the more people are going to steal from you. It's kind of a mixed blessing, I guess. At least they know what is being presented.
I've been here for about 7 years now, full time. I will say a lot of people get really protective over their IP, and I think that's the wrong approach. One of the best pieces of advice I got from one of the old forum guys, you probably wouldn't even remember him now. He's one of the ones like, you help me kind of types. He just said, look at the industries that are similar to yours. And the two he brought up were fashion and weight loss. The weight loss industry, same thing. There's a set of information. Everybody steals a whole bunch of things. There's no gatekeeping. Fashion, you can steal anybody's design for anything, and there's nothing they can do about it. So that's no different than here, people stealing all your platitudes. So how do those people get around it? And fashion industry was just constantly be making new stuff. And then for weight loss one, it was like build authority, be consistent, be trustworthy.
Well, plus
so really,
look,
yeah,
plus
people
look
can
like
still
look like the after photo. Look like the after photo. I mean, there's. We're always talking about the different ways to influence people. You have to have all of those things. The pathos, the logos, and the ethos. You have to have all of them, or you're not going to be as influential as you want to be. You can't be a bag.
No
of
one will
shit.
listen to a doll fucker.
Right. Yes, precisely. Precisely. I mean, turd flinging monkey is an excellent example, Ryan. He knows all the statistics. He knows all of the pitfalls in getting married. He knows all of the rules out there that kind of mitigate against men when it comes to boy-girl relationships.
Artistic, knows how to brand.
Right. But in the end, he's mentally ill. He dresses up a real doll and has sex with it. He is mentally ill.
So you know that doll's got more Instagram followers than me.
Hey, well,
I don't know how to feel about that.
I'm not sure how to feel about that either. I mean, but at the same time, everything that goes on out here is they consider the source. There was an Ivy League trained mathematician who did some very good work at the University of Michigan, ended up moving into the mountains of Colorado, and he made a big bang with a lot of his theories. Ted Kaczynski was all of those things, but remember, in the very end, he was still the Unabomber. So, you can get excellent information from dubious sources, but don't think that a lot of these people are worthy of your time. When you can source the same things from other places, and you don't have the moral ambiguity of having to, like something said by a guy who lives with a piece of silicone.
Well, that's the thing too, right? Like with his lifestyle, does he know this stuff, or is he just good at researching the stuff?
Well,
I know you hate people who do things in the abstract, and that's a perfect, like the abstract. That's the whole point of ethos. Have some kind of authority, look the part, be the what's it, Mark Ripto? Ripto? I always pronounce his name wrong.
Yeah. The problem with Mark, though, is that he doesn't look like a bodybuilder, but he is an authority on building strength. Exactly, he's the starting strength guy. He's the 5x5 guy. The original squat, deadlift, get fit guy, and because of age and the fact that he's probably had a few injuries over the years, he just looks like some dude who coaches football on in high school on Saturday afternoons.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it doesn't mean that the information that he has is bad. It's that a lot of times people will just say, well, he doesn't look like the Kino body guy, so he can't be an authority on what works as far as lifting is concerned. So I'm going to go over to Greg Doucette over here, because he does he has better cutting pharmaceuticals that he takes regularly than this guy. So yeah,
and that kind of makes me worry too when people aren't like, I don't want to look the part, I just want to like do the information. But a lot of these guys think, oh, that doesn't matter, which shows a very, I don't know what the word for it is, incompetence, I guess might be the right word.
Well, I mean, I guess the best example of that would be Paul Elam.
Fucking Paul Elam, man.
Well, he wants to raise all this awareness on men's rights issues and how to, build sympathy.
Ways awareness on Paul Elam is what he wants.
Yeah, well, that and he wants to build some type of interest in what happens to men in the family court system. But then you look up his history, and he's got a problem with anger, problem with domestic violence. He does not care about his appearance whatsoever. He lets women basically tell his story for him, hoping that it builds better traction.
That's the biggest thing, man. The whole
narrative control.
Casey J, was that her name? The chick who did the documentary for Cernovich.
I forgot all about her, man.
Yeah. It's just, people are just so, and you see this all the time, especially in conservative circles too, in the whole politics thing. It's like, oh yeah, we got to make Christine Noem the head of Homeland Security because we got to make mass deportations more palatable to the the mainstream audience. Like a woman in a position of authority, to like just boomer conservatives just goon over it like nothing else, man. It's crazy.
They think it's like a shield. They see the feminists running amok, and they're like, well, we got our own feminists. It's the I have a black friend of conservatism. Which I guess is also the black friend of conservative.
Exactly.
Yep.
They always have to have our champion versus yours. Christy Noem versus lesbian in a Range Rover.
Yep. Yeah, and that is the issue, is that we always want to try and match optics and emotion, when that's not the conservative strong point at all.
When would you ever think that you were going to win the optics game when your whole goal is to fundamentally change society and take the people who are currently in power and kick them out of power? When did you ever think that you were ever going to win the optics game on that front?
Fish don't know what water looks like. I'm being in Canada, how lifelong politicians are the norm. I see it here. They live in a weird bubble in Ottawa. right now, and this is like a Canadian, you guys will love this one. There's this guy, Aaron O'Toole. He used to run the Conservative Party of Canada. He lost the second election against Trudeau. This is like right around the time of just before the convoy. He constantly comes online and says, like, here, this is the perfect conservative line to explain it. He congratulated Mark Carney, the Liberal leader, on his speech for the World Economic Forum, where he was talking about the New World Order. But he honestly believes that. I thought he was like, it was a joke or he's taking it back. Like, he believes it. And he is like the conservative. He's the equivalent of, he's like a Ron, I don't know what the equivalent is in the States, but every one of them act this same way because they've been in Ottawa their whole life. They've been surrounded in liberal circles. They act like liberals, and they can't even imagine a private sector person from like Alberta or Quebec even thinking any differently. So when you're saying like, how do they think they can win? It's like, they don't know anything else. They've never had to. They've been in politics since they were 17. They've always had a government job. They've never been able to be fired. All they had to do was not diddle a prostitute and don't say the N-word on camera. That's it. And even then, you can get away with that and some blackface if you're charming enough.
Yeah, I mean, if you're on the right team. Yeah, very true.
Yeah, the issue, I think, for me is that, there are Democrats and then Republicans who are essentially Democrat light. They don't express any worldview that is vastly different from the other side from a practical standpoint.
They have no worldview of their own. Conservative worldview has been crafted by our enemies for over 100 years.
Yeah, it's reactionary. It is very it is not proactive. It does not come from a place of originality or necessity. It's more of a, well, what are they doing? We want to do somewhat the opposite, but at the same time, not rock the boat too much, because then we'll look like we're just mean.
If you're reacting, you're losing. And that's
and here's the thing too.
History of conservatism.
You can't just do it. You have to believe it, because the people who do it as a choice, that wears on you. I don't know if you've ever had a job where you had to act a completely different way than you were, but it wears on you. So it kind of self-selects for the true believer or the truly gullible person, which is, again, why is there so many idiots in politics? Because they believe it. All the stupid stuff they say, they believe it. I used to think it was cynical, but then I realized, no, they believe it.
Right, that's definitely been my experience, at least in conservatism. Well, like the people that I talk to that, just have like Fox News glued to their TVs all day, every day, or the people who are in your local GOPs or even your state senates or representatives, or even ones in Washington, D.C. itself. It's like, yeah, not the brightest bulbs in the box by any means.
No, generally they're physically presentable, decent at public speaking, have the ability to be charming to different audiences, and to be more of a chameleon, I guess, than an actual maverick, so to speak. They don't come out at you trying to convince you of their position. They morph their position to the audience that they're presenting to. I mean, why do you think everybody wants to have a speech in a union shop? It's because it's very easy to craft union talking points to speak to that audience in under 15 minutes from a speech writing standpoint. It keeps these retards on task.
Hey, question for you on this off topic, but
sure.
Do they do the same thing there that they do here? Like, they don't wear the hard hat, but they make sure to wear the vest to look like they just got off the forklift, but they don't.
No.
Shining green vest.
No. They'll wear the safety vest and they hold the hat. They either have the hat kind of hooked on their right hand at their waist, or if they're really trying to sell it, especially if it's a woman, they'll have the hat with a bill facing forward, right underneath the armpit. and kind of
Oh,
holding it
geez.
there on their
There's
side.
been too many pictures of them putting it on backwards on top of their heads.
Yep.
It's like that famous photo in the 2016 campaign when Hillary Clinton went to a bar and tried to pour herself a beer from the tap and it was all foam.
Or what's the one? Pizza with a knife and fork. Yeah, but it's like Chesty's saying with that optics thing. Now that I know to look for it, I never really thought much about it, and I can picture the kind of person who's only half paying attention might not notice, but it feels pandering to a level that's almost insulting.
Well, during the pandemic, Chuck Schumer had a picture of himself grilling burgers outside,
Raw burgers.
and the meat was completely raw, and he had the cheese over it, and there was nothing coming out of that grill whatsoever. There's no fire, there was no smoke, there was nothing. I mean, everything was just placed there for him to stand next to it with a spatula and take a picture.
Oh God, it's like Tim Walz where he couldn't even load his own shotgun when he said, "Oh yeah, I'm a lifelong hunter and I'm a gun rights advocate." During the most recent election, he's in his hunter's orange. Yeah, he couldn't even load. He couldn't even put a round.
Yeah, and Elizabeth Warren didn't know how to drink out of a bottle. When she was sharing a beer with somebody, her husband or whoever.
Oh yeah, for her little mini podcast thing.
Yeah. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? You try to do things that are everyman when you've never been an every person since you were maybe 13 or 14 years old. Most of all of these people have either been, groomed by their teachers or by
Parents,
educational institutions, straight into leadership roles. And they basically said, look, you come from a certain background, you're easy to back, you're not disgusting on the eyes. We think we can push you to the highest levels of power so long as you're willing to play ball with us and compromise your values in order to please special interest. And they're like, okay, well, how much does it pay? You'll probably be a multimillionaire before it's said and done, but you cause the deaths of probably at least 100,000 people. Okay, well, that sounds reasonable. I figure if I'm in Congress for that long, I'll approve of at least 2 wars during that time. And once those are over with, we'll have some cake and maybe create a new holiday for everybody else to and not have to work, and I understand that this sounds very cynical, but the point is
it though?
No, but it sounds cynical, but the point is that in reality, all of these things have happened. And this is what we do. Everybody used to have Armistice Day and then Remembrance Day, and now it's Veterans Day, and everything gets watered down more and more and more as we move away from the great wars of our time, World War I, World War II, the Mexican-American War, the Civil War, the War of 1812. All of these things shaped our country more than any of the policies of the Great Society or the New Deal or any other communist attempt to restructure our society. The only thing that it's done is it has created ways to take money from the individual and give it to the government in order to have a greater control over their voting populations. And that's about it. The only way to undo it at this point is to basically say we either have to cut off who the captured voting bloc is by law in order for one party to never be able to mine those depths again. And create some incentives for personal accountability and performance, whether it's within government itself or in the private sector. If you don't have any of those initiatives or any ability to move up, and it's on you, well, then too bad. You've merited out of the way that life should have worked for you from the very beginning. I mean, we were talking about statistics before. I mean, the most damning statistic that I've ever seen is that almost 45% of all Black female college graduates work for the government in the United States of America.
Mm-hmm. That's patronage. Democrats are a legitimate political party. It's as much as like people could say, all they want about the Republicans or how much of a goof it is that Democrats are always bitching about like racism or whatever. Their people secure the bag. Well, that is what politics is actually about.
Yes,
and bought so cheaply, or maybe it's not cheap. I don't know.
Well, it's not
cheap for the individual. I mean,
right. It's cheap at the individual level, but it's very expensive at the societal level, because what that does then is it creates an incentive from a bureaucratic standpoint to favor one set of government over another. And when you award basically, dilettante behavior, slowness of process, inability to cut through red tape and regulation to the point where it creates new jobs, that's a problem. Europe
That's
went
Canada.
Canada and Europe went through it even before Canada did. The 60s and 70s, the joke was that if you paid taxes in Italy, you're an idiot. Because you could never get anything done anyway, because all of the offices were closed before 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and getting any permits to build anything were impossible because they never had anybody available to do any inspections or anything else. You would think a country like that would have hotels with tons of pools and other water features to go along with anything. Well, for years and years, you couldn't get any pools approved because there weren't any inspectors available to approve any of the applications or permits for pools. So
nobody's ever held accountable. Yeah, it's regulations is here right now. It's exactly the same thing. Our tax, that's how bad we are. The tax company, CRA, or I guess our version of the IRS, they're 2 million cases of audits that they don't have the manpower to do right now.
Yeah.
And isn't that one of the last things, is like once the tax system breaks down, that's like the one thing that's always works.
Yeah,
I know I'm mumbling my way through this.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you could look at it this two ways. You could say yes, in a country that's dependent upon social programs and direct pays that are based upon tracing dollars from taxes, yeah, that would be problematic. But if the money simply comes from printing or from selling bonds, and all of those programs can be supported anyway, and nobody pays their taxes, and they actually put the money that they're saving into the system, the only thing that's really going to happen is you're going to have an issue with infrastructure that's controlled by local governments, and a lot of your local services are going to suffer. But I have a feeling that would be made up for by the populace at some point anyway.
Well, that's inflation. Inflationary effects.
Yes.
That's exactly what we have here.
Right.
It is crazy. If you're not in the housing market in Canada, you're basically lower quintiles, 100% over the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Well, another issue too is that Canada has no banking competition. You don't even have the right to charge a different set of interest rates for the same for the same item or the same product based on people's performance in other areas of credit.
Nope, it's all handed down. Prime.
So I mean, you either qualify for your $1.5 million loan for your 2-bedroom condo in Toronto, or you don't. See, here in the United States, you may have seven different versions of a loan that might allow you to make that purchase, but it also creates a greater degree of risk to both the economy and to you personally. So, but there's no competition there. You have what, 3 banks that basically...
5.
Okay, well,
Yeah, we can name them all.
Right.
Count them all on your hand.
I have a minimum of 4 credit unions in my city of 32,000 people.
Jesus.
And that doesn't include the national banks that are also here in town.
And I've heard too, you don't renegotiate. So for us, it's like you set your term every 3 to 5 years. You have to renegotiate. So if interest rates surge in 5 years, that's what our big problem is now. The market is crashing now, but next year is when the last of the free mortgages from COVID are expiring.
No, we don't believe in ARMs.
Oh.
The adjustable rate mortgage or the rehypothecated mortgage, we don't believe in that. Most people with money here, we get in fixed rate loans between 10 and 30 years for real estate.
Yeah, and that's it. That's your loan, and then when it's done, it's done. You don't renegotiate the rate or anything.
And even as the power of the dollar decreases, the payment amount stays the same. That's why boomers are ahead, is because they are paying for the same thing with essentially less money. So if I have a 30-year mortgage on a $400,000 house that started in 1990, and it was, $1,200 a month for that loan. That $1,200 that I was paying originally in 1991 was a hell of a lot more valuable than the $1,200 that I'm paying now a month in 2026.
Yeah, it's pure dollar depreciation.
That's right. So, but because that's the deal we struck. We don't renegotiate those types of deals because one good thing about the United States is that you have the freedom to contract. You have the freedom to get into tremendously great deals, and you have the ability to fuck yourself for the rest of your life with a terrible deal. But that's part of the way that this country works. And because of that, we have multiple different venues that compete for your business. If I can get into a credit union that not only gives me a loan at a low rate, plus gives me a rebate on my interest at the end of the year, my effective interest rate on my loans sometimes is as low as 1.5%. I mean, I got into a 30-year loan on some of my properties where the interest rate was 2.3%. And then because I'm a fine, upstanding member of my credit union with a certain amount of assets, they also give me a rebate, an interest rebate at the end of the year, generally equivalent to 1% of all of my interest payments.
Well,
So my effective interest rate is 1.5%. Many years of money that I've borrowed. And every other, financial device that I have pays much more than that. So if I'm getting paid more by the banks than I am paying back to them in interest, then I'm always making money and my assets are appreciating. That's the ability that you have here in the United States, if and only if the market isn't destroyed by saturation or by immigration. And the problem is going to become is that we're going to have a supply problem because we want every H-1B from India
we already have a supply problem.
Well,
what I love about this part,
yeah,
you guys have a third of the problem that Canada does per capita with this migration thing. So every time you guys talk about the worst case scenario for America, I'm like, oh, it's Canada 7 years ago. That's awesome.
Isn't it like never get tired of that clip.
Yeah, there was, depending on who you asked, it was like something between a quarter and a fifth. Like 1 out of every 5 people just came here from India or Southeast Asia.
It's even worse with that. The actual births, like the new people giving birth, isn't like 45% are foreigners or people who have like foreign parents.
Oh yeah. Like,
that's demographic collapse. That's
and you got to remember too, Canada is not a giant country. Like it's big in landmass, but it's essentially 6 major cities with like an economic zone surrounding them. And each one of them, if you look at each city, we're at least 60% foreign born. So we're like, as far as like, we're already done. Like this, there's no coming back from this. I don't think anybody's got the stomach to do what has to be done here. So I'm just expecting a Rhodesia like decline or a Venezuelification or something like that. Yeah, with your immigration, this is what's going to happen. Developers are going to start. I think you guys have the 5 and 2s, but here was the shoebox condos, 500 square feet, 1 bedrooms or studios. So like, yeah, Indians will live in this for sure. And then they kept doing it till the economy got so bad, and then nobody realized that the Indians were only coming here to try and sneak over the border to the States. But then you guys eventually start like, we're tired of your fentanyl and your Indians, and you guys closed the border. These guys all went back home, and now we've got something like 50,000 brand new condos that nobody can buy. Which is, and that's the other problem. Now the market's crashing, but because nobody's lost their government jobs yet, they aren't forced to sell theirs. So we're in this weird limbo where everything costs like New York prices, like $1,200, $1,300 a square foot. Nobody can afford it. Nobody's going to sell and nobody's buying. And so we're just waiting for companies to finally go under. 2 trillion just left BC. Wow. And like even Crown Royal just left Canada. Like we're going to the States. We can't make it here anymore. So like all this stuff's coming together. And this is all when Chesty's talking about your worst case scenarios, this is the kind of thing that's going to happen. But I don't know how it happens with America. Like what happened? How do you guys get capital flight? America's kind of like the last stop before.
Yeah, that really is the real big problem, isn't it? It's like there's really nowhere else to go if shit goes tits up here. No.
Yeah, I mean, there might be 7,000-8,000 people who will all go to Singapore or something like that. But otherwise, this is kind of it. Or you can go, America adjacent, buy some place on Hawaii and receive all the benefits of American citizenship without any of the hassles of the mainland. But, I get advertisements all the time for Belize, Costa Rica, where they just want to sell me anything they possibly can and have me develop whatever it is that they want me to develop. And my thoughts on that is, okay, well, can I grow crops there? And they're like, oh, no. Only single family residential is available to you in our country.
I'm like the Mexico grift. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, thanks, man. My businesses or my side business, other than, being an attorney is to buy dirt. I own large swaths of farmland, and what I do then is I develop and regrade and retile old farms to get them draining properly, to resolve any possible wetlands issues, those types of things, and then I lease it out to farmers who can't afford large enough tracts to farm. And then I get a percentage of their crop yields, and I also get a stipend from the land itself, a certain number of dollars per acre, and they won't let you do that anywhere else in the world. So I'm kind of
Are you a feudal lord?
No, I'm not a feudal lord.
It'd be cool if you were.
These people just work the land for me, and I get paid. I get 30% of the crops, and they get to keep the rest. And
yeah, I mean, and
I don't mean to laugh, but
the thing is, it's a 2-page agreement that gets renewed every spring.
There you go.
And to make this even more ridiculous is if they have any problems with their crop, I'm named as a co-insured with the Farm Bureau. And if they get paid because of crop loss, I get a percentage of that too.
My God, man.
So there you go.
No, but people are looking at this the wrong way. They always look at, well, I want to lease to individuals. I want to be a landlord-tenant relationship, and I'm like, fuck that.
Fuck that.
I don't have to repaint, a patch of really good topsoil in the thumb of Michigan. It doesn't have to happen. Somebody else, if they break the lease, I'm like, okay, well, fine. It's just going to sit there, and I'll pay the property taxes on farmland, which is vastly lower than property taxes on single family homes or multi-family complexes. Yeah.
Just imagine dealing with eviction laws at this point, especially.
Are yours as bad as they are here?
in certain areas. Depends on where you go. Obviously, the blue areas, it's way worse, and even worse if you're in the blue areas. They're in the Section 8 areas of the blue areas. So
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a business model here on essentially squatting.
Oh yeah, that's becoming a thing in like New York and stuff, where people just show up and you can't get rid of them.
You'll like this. You hate boomers. There was the boomer grift for the longest time was to get a second place here because, millennials need to buy something. So fuck them. And they were like, oh, I'll just rent it out, be tenants. That's how I make my money. But nobody would rent for the prices that they want because they had to pay exorbitant prices. So what the government was doing was like, hey, adopt a Ukrainian or adopt an Indian family. And then the government was essentially paying you to house them.
Oh yeah,
as like a stipend. And they were making these refugees were making like 80 grand a year, which was everybody hated it. And so the boomers thought this is the greatest thing. Now they're basically getting a government paycheck to buy their second condo and keep these guys in.
I think the thing that
The
pisses me
moment
off
they
the
pulled
most
back the
about
tap
it,
on it though, it was so funny because I'm watching people that I've known grow up just being stupid. Like, I can't believe the government changed things. And now my Ukrainians left, and they left because they're on the Indian guys are such a shitty third world people, and places like a mess. And I was just like I don't feel bad.
I mean, well, that's the thing that pisses me off the most about these kinds of people is that they all think they're financial wizards for this kind of thing. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
great,
government
great.
gives.
Yeah, it's great. So you took a bunch of government gives, and on top of that, you ethnically replaced your own people. Congratulations.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
and that's they still bitch about immigrants too, and they're like, well, you could have just not taken them.
Right, and that's why there really are no good sides to the coin on immigration in the U.S. It's because there's a certain segment of the conservative population who adopts the business model that you were just talking about, and then there's also the people who need them for cheap labor in order to maximize profit on any type of construction that's out there too. So it's like, okay, well, why are you raiding the Home Depot, ICE? Well, because all the illegals are there. It's kind of like, well, why do you want to rob a bank? Well, that's where all the money is.
Yeah.
And that's the situation that you have. You see these foremen or these general contractors getting on TikTok, and they're all sad, like, I only had 3 guys on the roofing crew come in to work today. Because
I crank it to those videos. I love those.
How about you fucking pay more? I worked in the trades for 3 years. Didn't make fucking shit in it. Nothing. I did the conservative thing. It's like, go work in the trades, man. You can start your own business, man.
Yeah. You know what? I think everybody should work in the trades once to know why people don't want to work in the trades. Like, I like having my hands. I want to be able to bend down and pick up my children kind of thing. I need my back to work in my 60s.
Yeah. It's like, so why are you missing the tips of 2 fingers? And, why don't you need oven mitts to remove anything out of the oven, Dad? Well, the calluses don't hurt, son.
Yeah. It's a leadership issue, right? Because if you're working as if you're a contractor and everybody else is hiring illegals but you're going to get priced out and lose your business. So you're kind of forced to. Granted, a lot of people seem to like doing it too. So it really takes like daddy government at the top has to say, all right, no more illegals, but they're not, because everybody who gets illegals is lobbying for the illegals and they're paying.
But the thing is, and what people don't want to address, and they don't want to look at the 1,200 pound or the 2-ton elephant in the room, is that those laws are already on the books. You can't hire any of those people legally.
Yeah,
they're not being enforced. They're not laws.
Exactly.
You know
we already have E-Verify. We have everything. We don't need to have a new bipartisan bill to pass with Democrats to deport a bunch of people or get border security or any of this horse shit. It's just the exact same thing we were talking about at the front of it. Is we just need the will. That's it. All it requires is just the will.
And the will also requires the right to police their own. They need to say they need to say to their country club buddies that, hey, look, Roscoe, you can't fucking hire 90 illegals on your crew to complete your subdivision at a 30% discount. You just can't fucking do it anymore. Get on board with the rest of us. Train some Americans. Get these fucking people out of our country you know,
JP
and
Morgan held all of his other fellow business owners and bankers basically at gunpoint on his own yacht, threatening to bankrupt all of them when he bailed out the Bank of the United States. I mean,
When the robber baron has to come and sort out your town, you know something's up.
yeah, that's basically it. The problem then becomes, it's like, okay, I haven't had any enforcement of any of this stuff for years. And the way that I make my money is on margins between the labor cost, materials cost, and what I can sell this product for. Okay. Material costs are generally going to go up or stay stable over time because, you know, wood is wood is wood. All right. But if I can pay somebody to come in and do the same work for, you know, $11 an hour instead of $33 an hour, well, that's where I make up my difference and where I make my, you know, my fortune doing something that, you know, doesn't necessarily require that much, you know, intellectual work. And there's nothing to be ashamed of in putting in, you know, a hard day's work physically. There is something to be ashamed of, though, when you're not the person who's putting in the work and you control the work site and you choose to place people on those job sites who you know should not be there legally, and yet you do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't that the big thing, is like start arresting the companies hiring?
Yeah, I mean, the United States government has finally found something it doesn't want to tax: remittances. It's just it tells you everything you need to know right there.
Yeah, I mean, we want to keep our good relations with neighboring countries by allowing our dollars to develop those countries, is essentially what it is. We get better trading partners with countries that are allowed to grow via, you know, our labor market. So it's twofold. You know, we don't export anything to them. We take all of their, we import everything that they have, and then we allow our money to go out through their illegal labor through remittances without taxing it in order to somewhat level the playing field.
I mean, that's the story of the last 65 years since the Great Society. It's been the American white middle class has been basically taxed into oblivion to fund the entire third world.
Yeah, we support everybody who builds the shit that we shouldn't buy, but we consume anyway. I mean, you're not old enough to really know, Red, but I mean, a good pair of pants back when I was, you know, in my early 20s was $80 American. Okay. You know, that's the same price that you can still buy, you know, pants that kind of look the same but aren't quite as good quality now. And how are you able to support that type of depression in consumer good costs while at the same time face inflation on everything else? The only way to do that is to buy from countries that have no labor regulations and, you know, place nets around their buildings so you can get those fuckers back inside and keep building those iPhones. So that's the major problem, is that we've become accustomed to cheap shit, and we enjoy purchasing cheap shit, and the disposability of certain things we've become accustomed to when some of those things used to be durable goods. I own a pair of Allen Edmonds shoes. Okay.
Are those the ones you wore when I saw you?
Yeah. Those uppers on those shoes are close to 40 years old.
No shit.
Yeah. and all I do is I take care of the uppers. I condition them. I change out the laces. And when the soles start to go sideways and the heels start to go away, I get them resoled. I go to a quality cobbler and he resoles those things, and I can wear them over and over again. 40 years ago, those shoes were about $300. Okay. But the fact is that they were a durable good at the time. They were something that was meant to be used for years, not what's there now that you spend $40 for that will last you, 6 months to a year. That's the issue, is that we are living in a very disposable society that values, the ability to try on the next new shiny thing for a lower cost and the fad than it is to invest in things that have, a certain amount of value over time.
Well, this is another thing you constantly get in arguments with boomers over, right? It's like, oh, well, trying to get into the housing market. Well, we didn't have a TV in our first house. It's like, well, why don't you look up the adjusted price for what a TV cost in your day versus what a TV costs today, and then the adjusted price for a house. It's like,
I don't even get
what are we even talking about
them,
here?
Though. I always get stolen valor. No, I mean, not that. I mean, I get stolen valor. It's not when I was a kid we had this. It was when my parents were a kid. They had to live in a 400 square foot shack. So why can't you? The boomers here, they don't have hardships. Like I argued with this one boomer last time. I was so angry. I was there with some of my cousins and they were bitching like, yeah, I want to take my kids to baseball. But they have to drive to the States because we don't have the infrastructure here for any kind of team sports. But we can't afford it anymore, so we had to stop doing it. Now it sucks. The kids don't have any after-curricular activities. And she's like, you fucking whiny millennials. And then she went off about my parents were raised in a shack and blah, blah, blah. And then I shit you not, the next sentence out of her mouth was talking about her and her husband took 5 years off of work to go to Machu Picchu.
Their 15th cruise, I hear that shit all the time in my tax office.
And like no self-awareness to it. No. And every boomer I talk to is like this. They lived in the most prosperous time ever, but they still hold on to how rough their parents had it because they heard those stories from their parents and they use those to judge us. And yeah, the housing thing, I got lucky, dude. The thing that annoys me is like between my girl and I, it feels like I'm at the crest of a wave and I have to make perfect economic decisions every step of the way just to stay on the wave when it comes to housing. And I know most people I know aren't that, I don't know what the word is, ruthless or good or savvy. Whatever it is. Savvy. Yeah, savvy. Not savvy enough to do that. No. And I'm watching the difference between me and some friends I have. And they're not stupid people and they have really good jobs that pay really well, but like the difference is stark, man.
Yeah, you used to be able to get by just doing enough. And that was it. And there's no shame in that,
Yeah, well, my in-laws, that was their thing. They would flip houses for 5 years, and then they go live in Mexico for 10 years, and then come back and flip houses for 5 years and do it again. I couldn't imagine doing that now. That's crazy.
No way. Yeah,
it's all in the land. I could flip the house. It's worth an extra $2,000 if I put $3,000 of materials into it. It's like, are you stupid? No. Go live in Mexico. Yeah, okay. Let me just hey, cartels, I'm just going to come here with a bunch of money and a passport. Good luck.
No. I mean, this is one of the things like I will eternally be grateful for Cappy for, and one of his best lines is like, the adults just know nothing. Don't listen to the adults; they know nothing. It really just is so true. It's like all the economic advice sucks, all the political advice sucks, all the relationship advice sucks.
Well, and then to tie back to the red pill expands to other things. Mm-hmm. You're right there, because in dating we're like, you can't ask somebody older than you, because they just remember how it used to be and they don't know how things have changed. You can't ask somebody younger than you because they don't know shit. And then you ask people that are around you and they're just guessing themselves. So nobody knows, which is a freeing experience in the sense that you have to just open your eyes and just look at what's around you, take a snapshot of what's going on and make a good decision. When it comes to dating, same thing. Economically, same thing. And yeah, you might make some bad decisions, but the same as an hour ago when we were talking about the degenerate guy with the happy life and the pious man without the happy life, that at least the guy who's taken economic risks learns where that level of risk tolerance is.
See, and then there's a second level to this risk. You could be a person who says, "Hey, I've actually built a decent system on how to recognize this stuff and make money from it," and you market it to other people who are fallible and risk averse and scared and just generally emotionally unregulated, and they take your advice and they completely fuck it up, and now all of a sudden you're to blame for all of those problems. This is where the third order effects come into play, where it's like, look, why do I want to put myself out there and tell you the secret sauce when all you're going to do is turn it into, um, another version of ketchup. If I tell you, if I tell you exactly, what it is that we're going to do, you're not going to benefit from this. I'm not going to benefit from this. You're just going to write reviews and say, well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about because he didn't hold my hand every step of the way and spoon feed me, my way to financial independence. I mean, kudos to guys like Kiyosaki, Rob, and other dudes like Tony Robbins who have been doing this stuff for eternity. But at the same time, it's like you just have to basically be able to move on to the next over and over and over again and say, hey, look, man, I know this isn't my fault because I've seen people fuck this up, so many times now that it shouldn't be an issue to me. Whether or not people can, follow through with instruction. Thank you for, for the fees that you've paid, for the advice that I've given. But I do not take responsibility for your failure. and that is another problem with the Manosphere that we've always had, is that we have our crash outs who become more famous for crashing out than they do for anything else that they've done. And they always end up, and then they always end up pointing the finger to somebody else and say, hey, I followed your advice to the letter and all it ended up is me, going to jail for sexually assaulting someone or something to that effect.
Storming the Capitol.
Yeah.
Murdering 6 people in Colorado.
Yes.
Oh, well, yeah. Even something more radical. Yeah.
Yeah. I do not sanction that type of activity at all.
No.
I owe you a game of euchre.
Exactly.
We're probably only 3 people in this call and in the whole chat even know what that game is.
Well,
I'm so jealous of Chesty, man. That's like owning Hitler's sweater.
It is kind of odd. I don't know if you know this, right? I own one of the sanctioned prototype euchre decks that that Roman made. He made like maybe 5 or 6 of them. Huh. Yeah. Still wrapped in the plastic. I've offered it up to a couple different macabre museums across the country. And some of them are seriously thinking of adding them to some collections, but for now I have it.
Huh.
It's like, so what do you have any mass shooter memorabilia? Yes, I do.
Wow. Well, Jack's got his Pokemon cards, so
that's right.
You guys can trade.
That's right. I think mine are more rare but less desirable. Let's just put it that way.
and then to tie this whole thing back too. That's why with a lot of Manosphere, I don't like advice. I've kind of since come to terms with treating it more like cultural anthropology than of any kind of self-help male space, whatever you want to call it. Because that's the only way this works at all with any of this stuff. Economics. This is what I did, and this is how it worked for me. You can't really tell somebody to do it, and they need to take it and take on the personal responsibility and the risk that comes with,
right?
Where you choose to live, what you choose as your vocation, what you choose as your forms of income, who do you decide to stick your dick into, who you decided to pull a baby out of, like all of these things.
Yeah. And to add to what Ryan is saying too, it's the exact opposite of what most consumers want. What most consumers want, and a lot of these people have, who cater to that type of thing. The Sneekos of the world and that type of thing. They want someone to be able to confidently tell them, "Be like me, it works for me." And that's not the best way to go about purveying any of this information. It's much more of a your mileage may vary model than it is a be like me, it works for me.
In a day and age when all of the traditional paths in society, especially for men, have been taken from them, it doesn't really behoove you to be following a set path. I mean, it's like my dad.
That's the other thing.
If I took my dad's advice, for example, on building an online scene. Like, he'd have no idea like where to start. You just have like, what's a podcast? What's building an online career? What's building a fraternal network? Like, what's getting involved in politics and stuff? It's like, who's going to give you advice on this kind of thing? From the previous generations here in 2025, it just doesn't work that way.
Not even your peers. Like, if I could give you podcasting advice, but it might not be any good. We're all A/B testing this, and the landscape is changing underneath us as we go. The COVID environment was completely different than the 2026 environment, which is going to be different than what's 2028 when you guys start having elections again.
Yeah.
Well, so 2026 we have midterm elections, and then 2028's the next national elections. That's going to be a wild time.
When everybody stops talking about sex and starts talking about Trump, yeah.
Well, no, they're going to be talking about Vance, which is going to be even more hilarious, because you're going to see all of the memes come out. Him doing the Appalachian slide, weighing 350 pounds with an afro and all that shit. That's going to be fun to watch.
Those are very goofy memes that people make of JD Vance, that's for sure.
Kudos on him, though. He's probably the most savvy politician I've seen in a long time. Like, just being able to roll with the memes.
Yeah, he's good.
Never would have seen that 4 years ago from anybody.
Yeah, I mean, you actually have somebody with a law background in politics again. Imagine that. Well, that used to be the norm. I mean, you would move from straight out of undergrad to law school, and you practice law for a few years, and someone would approach you and say, "Hey, you're a really good public speaker and you make persuasive arguments. Would you like to run for office?" "Oh, sure." And then you get to write all the stuff that you were reading every day, so it made sense to you, and you could do it in such a way that it either confused the average person or only made sense to you and your peers. And from that point forward, you convince people the same way that you did in courtrooms that you're a competent person. Every 2 to 6 years, depending if you're in the House or the Senate, there are no term limits, and you die Strom Thurmond. So, I mean, it is what it is. You can get a job for 75 years if you're good enough at selling yourself, particularly in politics, and if you know the law. The problem now is that we have restaurant owners with big tits who like to carry guns, running for office and winning.
Giving handies to Democrats when they're at plays.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just people.
I mean, we got Nancy Mace on the thumbnail here. I mean, showing her own boobs in a in the
winning elections today. Winning elections today is a lot like I always argue about the hardest part about being a writer is getting people to learn your fucking name. I'd argue with all of this clown show politics stuff. A lot of it's just for name recognition. Like, I know that's all why Trump did great in 2016 during the primaries. It wasn't because he was the greatest orator up there. It wasn't because he was the greatest politician. It's just because he was the one that everybody remembered the name of because he was in Home Alone 2 and The Apprentice.
He was barely the least radical Democrat of all the Democrats running. to be perfectly honest. Yeah. No, I'm serious. I mean, he donated money and behaved like your standard moderate Democrat and out of the New York City for the majority of his life.
Yep.
He paid exorbitant taxes to live in a high profile city, giving money to every local politician possible in order to, substantiate and keep his gains in the real estate market. A self-interested business person in a Democratic environment, voted Democrat. Imagine that, and over and over and over again until he finally decided to run. And then all of a sudden he's, barely to the left of Hitler somehow. This is just bad, history combined with really stupid people who vote. Democracy in general, by all of the ancient philosophers was termed to be one of the greatest evils that could be foisted by men upon other men. And
Tyranny of the majority.
And it's the tyranny of the majority, and also written about very well, but not as discussed as often as the tyranny of the minority. There are ways to take this type of system and turn it on its head based upon the needs and desires of a particularly aggressive portion of a population. You can population capture an entire country that does national elections with 25% of the population. And people don't understand that. You can win, I think 9 states and become president.
You can win Quebec. You can win Quebec and be prime minister. That's exactly the population of Quebec.
Yeah, well, yeah, especially when you add the multi-ethnic issue that we have in the United States as well. So that's a whole another kettle of fish. But anyway, I mean, well, so we've been talking for 2.5 hours here, and we do have to get through some of these super chats. So why don't we power through some of these? Maybe something else interesting will come up. But
cool.
All right, Solid Snake 1964, always first behind the line for his super chatting. Sends us $10. And he says, "Evening, gents. I see the question asked, where are all the good men? I say they're all here in the OGC. Absolutely. You won't find more competent men anywhere else if you want to be amongst great men of history. Hopefully, join the OGC. You two could potentially chap out great novels. The HRS. Salute." Yes. Go join the Home Range Society. Everyone go check out Kansas. Check out the OGC website. Find your local chapter in your area. Let's see. Daryl Armentrout for $2 says, Dio Vindis. Yes. Yes, indeed. Chaos Tank Engine for $5. Oh my God, Ryan, this is one of your guys. He sends $5 heartfelt. There we go. Nice. No, I'm not Grim from Red Hood for $2 says we live in an extremely fallen world. Well, always has been. Kilimanjaro for $5. Don't black pill, brothers. Femininity and masculinity are perfections created by God, and none of us are Adam either. The stream reminds me of the ALQ. All right, whatever, dude. I mean, there was always going to be some guy in here getting some pushback and stuff, and you kind of just. They always out themselves, man. It's just if you guys could just read between the lines a little bit, listen with your ears.
Wait, he's calling us black-pilled?
Yeah. I mean,
dude, I made 14 grand on stock market today. I don't care. You gotta get yours.
Yeah. If a lot of the stuff that we've talked about in this stream just immediately went into your lizard brain and quickly pissed you off, I mean, you just don't get it, man. Just don't get it. Maybe we'll get there though. Buckthorn Bear for $10 says women do be fooling. Very true. Imagine my lack of shekels for $15. Thank you very much, sir. Met my wife at church, shot my shot, which happened to be no look 360 across the map headshot, and somehow it landed. Glory to God. Now we're just working hard on reversing the demographic shift in America. Hail victory, brothers. Hey, there you go, man. Hey, at least this guy acknowledges it, man. And it's like, hey, if it works out for you guys, more power to you. Listen, I have a lifelong friend of mine who I've known since literally I was a child. We were born 2 weeks apart, right? And he met his wife in church when they went to a Christian college together. They got married when they were 19. Well, and they now have like 4 kids. So good for them, man. If it works for you, it works for you. Mm-hmm. It's not going to work for everyone. Speaking of Nuke, good friend of ours, he sends us $20. Admiral Hyman G. Rickover, father of the nuclear navy, once said, "It is necessary for us to learn from others' mistakes. You will not live long enough to make them all yourself." And that's why I like Red Pill history. There you go, Nuke. I hope you're doing well, sir. We don't get to stream as much as we used to, but hope all is well, dude. And I will have to say, I must congratulate you. I'm assuming you wrote that tweet for Pearl the other day about Elijah Schaefer. Well done, sir. I hope she made some money off of that.
Thanks.
And
then Nero calling him Chocolatino, which was very, very nice of him.
He didn't call you black,
No. Chocolatino.
They're good people. Good people. Pearl's always been good to me, so no need to. So hope you guys are doing well.
Just don't trust Milo as far as you can fucking throw him.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. For sure.
Faggot.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. That was a hilarious tweet I saw today. He's like, all right. So I had an affair with my wife. She's taking my kids, filed for divorce. I'm screaming on Twitter in a drug-addled rage. Do you know the first person I'm going to rely on? Milo.
Yeah, whatever.
All right. No, I'm not grim from Red Hood sends us $2. Never forget the OG goat, Vivian James. Salute.
Real Americans.
Real Americans. Thank you. Skibum220, always one of our top super chatters. Thank you very much. Sends us $50. Salute the OGC. Thank you.
Real Americans.
Yes, real Americans indeed. Look at this guy, Dante the Panda, sends us 3,000 Philippine pesos. So that's what, like 2 cents American or something. You know? Thank you very much, sir. Really reaching into the wallet there. Thank you, Dante. Good that you're doing well, man.
It's a Gucci shirt missing a C from the Philippines.
Yeah. Cheers, everyone. Hope this reaches more people. Thank you, Dante.
Imelda Marco says hello, Dante.
All right. Christopher Burke sends us $5 and a salute. Thank you, sir. You are a real American. Let's see.
Real Americans.
And he sends us another $2. He says, can't wait for the no tax on bribes.
I don't think there's ever been a tax on bribes, to be honest, my friend.
Bolero 393 sends $10. He says, marrying a woman in 1826 was like getting 40 acres of land in Northwest Ohio that you could shape to your liking. Marrying a woman in 2026 is like buying a boarded up strip mall in Toledo.
Oof. You say so, man. I've seen photos of girls in 1826 or whatever year they invented cameras.
Let's see. We got Seasider sends us $10 and a salute. Thank you very much, sir.
Real Americans.
No, I'm not grin from Red Hood again for $2. Says we're going full Roman on the OGC.
The
no
McClay joke.
Yeah.
That's right.
Dawn Browning, the only woman who listens to the show, sends us $10 Australian with a super sticker of a person laughing on the ground, slapping the floor, saying LOL. Thank you, Dawn Browning. We appreciate the support from the Aussie women. Thank you.
Legally, that's all they're allowed to send without breaking the law, so that's very appreciative.
Yeah, pretty much.
Can I call her a C word affectionately?
Yes.
That was a funny joke, Ryan, a story you told about what was it, one of the earlier meetups from you were just
it was at the convention. We should all be named in Orlando. Yeah. All the pickup artists were doing their little thing, and then they took the guys to the bar afterwards for infields. And then I noticed all the guys that were on the pickup stuff were just sitting at a table drinking beers, and it was like me and Zach Small of all people, like, dude, what are you guys doing? They're like, oh, we're here with the pickup artists. Like, why aren't you picking up? Brought some girls to our table and that, and there was just this one chick soaking up attention from everybody around her. And I just walked up and called her a cunt. And because once I found out she's Australian, like, you fucking cunt. And then we just had a big laugh about it. And everybody just walked away. And everybody's like, what the hell just happened there? Then she came and joined the table. And I introduced her to the guys as like an opener. Know your audience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Don't talk to women, Ryan. They might prosecute you. I've been reliably informed.
What's the worst that could happen to me prosecutorially? I've been through it.
Yeah, really, in your case. Yeah.
gonna get extradited to a better place.
Yeah, really. We'll smuggle you over Lake Erie, Ryan. Just put you in like a booze running, like old Chris Kraft or something. You know.
I think there might be some ancient statute out there that says if you go over the falls, you qualify to be American. But,
Quick, give me some white out. I'll hit the loyalty list. We're good to go.
Quick, make flyers of that and drop it in Branton.
I mean, what is more Canadian than like leaving Canada to go to America to make a fortune? It's kind of the original Canadians, you know. Americans. I don't mean to joke. I know guys are sensitive about that. So don't worry, guys. America's the best. We're fine.
America #1, baby. Cal Trask sends us $5. The red pill, at least in part, is only necessary because the church has been utterly derelict in its duty to facilitate healthy human relationships. I 100% agree with that.
Little bit of studying of anthropology as well as Sunday school. Learn about people along with the book. That might help.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Listen here, man. You don't have to become a full bore, degenerate, but just knowing how to actually deal with women and understanding why, if you don't text her back right away, you get a better response. That's just useful for you at any point.
That's just mean and evil, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. You just got to be really upfront with your intentions right away, and be as unromantic as possible.
I intend to marry you in 6 months, ma'am.
Sign here. Aramaic Discourse for $10 says, "Have a good evening, gentlemen. My dinner date stood me up, so you guys get the tip while I enjoy a New York strip with a lovely Chianti. Always remember the black pill is a suppository and find friends." Yes, very true indeed.
Dinner date, way too much pressure, man. This is why you get the coffee or a drink.
Yep. I always preferred the walk. I liked the walk because there was, if it got to the point where we were enjoying each other, then we can go to
Thursday evening. Is he dating a college girl?
I was thinking a nurse or a shift worker, maybe.
That could be too. Yep.
Yeah, entirely possible. No.
Although if it was a nurse, probably wouldn't have stood him up.
Nurses will eat anything, and yeah, you know what I mean. They'll eat it.
No, it's like, wow, imagine that. Just you try something out. Wow. All right. So I don't have to I'll never forget this. I remember telling this story to you, Ryan, on one of my early podcast appearances.
Mm-hmm.
One of my first dates I had when I was in college. I was 18 years old. I wore a suit and tie and I took a chick to an Outback Steakhouse, man. That was that's what you got to do. You got to dress looking really nice, man, and take her out to dinner. And
you know what? You did it ery. You learned fast. For that.
The $140 date right out the gate. Good job.
Well, gotta learn.
You want to punch yourself in the dick right now, don't you?
If you don't learn the hard way, you don't learn at all.
That's right.
So, X-Runner 55 for $20. Ryan is right about government employees. People never left the country making policy. Related to other government employees, acting psychopaths excel in intelligence. I had no problem. I wanted a result. Fuck your feelings. There you go.
Very nice.
Yeah. Son of Haster from the new Ivy League and a frequent listener of Rian Stone's channel. He sends us a $5 1 cent super chat. Thank you very much, sir. He knows the lore. He says, "You will read Dog Walker. Lent my copy to a chapter guy, and I'm not getting it back." Yeah.
Oh, that son of a bitch.
I remember I lent him Fuck Files to a friend of mine because I read it in one flight on my way back from Vegas. And that was an interesting book for sure, because it was not long after that I started going on a couple of different dates. I was like, wow, this is they really are all kind of the same, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I mean that I left out a lot of the more crazier stories of my life on that one, just because they didn't fit with the narrative. But yeah, it's that stuff was honest. And to be fair, a lot of it kind of inspired the Dog Walker. The Dog Walker is a fictional version, heavily inspired by.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the thing. That's what I like now. I hate the idea of just preaching to people red pill shit. I'm like, why can't you make it a compelling story with characters? I just would hate to be that guy who has to do Vox Day, where he still has to talk about fucking gamma males. Oh, I feel so bad for him. Yeah. He's in that box now. He's like Green Lines with Rivellino.
No,
I'm a Sigma.
Old Fox Day, he's still plugging along, and you know what? Still got good takes. So yeah. Anyway, moving along here, we got X-Runner again for $5. We are 2 months in for the Canadian investment regulator suffering and recovering from a ransomware attack.
Oh yeah, was that IROC or was that the other one? Yeah, big deal. Essentially, SEC, imagine the SEC getting hacked. It's not good.
Well. Yeah. Let's see. No, I'm not Grim from Red Hood for $2. Yes, this is secretly the Canadian outreach episode. Yes. Yeah. All super chats will be going to smuggling Ryan and his girl over here and resettling them, in the witness protection program. So the
Don't
Canadians,
blame us. It's your guys' overly restrictive immigration law to any non-Browns.
Dude, fucking tell me about it. Anyway, Dark Knight Dev for $5. Hey, you know what? Don't let anybody say we don't have equal representation on this show. We take money from all kinds on the OGC. Thank you, Dev. Good to see you in the audience, man. Chesty, I'm a single brown bro in New York City as a bus operator making $90K a year. How do I get into real estate without dealing with tenants? Maybe REIT.
Yeah, real estate investment trust.
So Cappy's always suggesting.
Yeah. Real estate investment trusts are a decent investment vehicle now that the Big Short movie and the actual collapse of the same instruments took place in 2007, 2008. Problem is that they're starting to get fast and loose again with the different tranches that make up the real estate investment trusts. I would recommend getting into an established one that is listed. Don't do anything local, and don't get into an REIT that promises funds after flips. Some of these people are putting out investment trusts where they buy up homes to rehabilitate. They take your cash investment and basically buy distressed homes in cruddy neighborhoods, use that cash to flip them or to rehabilitate them and then rent them out. And then they promise a percentage return to you based on the ability of the tenants to pay. If you see anything like that, run. Go for very well regulated ones. Right now you'll make between 10 and 12% a year on an REIT. Make it a small portion of your portfolio, and then, like Aaron Clary says, the rest of it should just be in something that's tied to the S&P. Slow and steady wins the race, dude.
All right, there we go. Hashtag not financial advice.
Not financial advice. I am a millionaire. Thank you.
No, I'm not Grim from Red Hood again for $5. Great stream overall. Honestly, one of the best ones y'all done recently. Keep your heads up, ladies and gentlemen. It won't be dark forever. Salute. Very true. James sends us $10. Couch, do you have any Steel Beach stories from your Navy days? Heartfelt salute.
Real Americans.
No, I do not. That is a good one, though.
All right. And then finally, last one we got for $2 again from No, I'm Not Grim from Red Hood says, not just any coffee, Fox and Sons coffee. All right. Yes. Everyone pick up your Fox and Sons coffee. All right. Any final thoughts, fellas, on, current state of play, Manosphere in general, dudes, 2026? Is it all over? What are we thinking?
I don't care. No, I mean it. I mean, fuck them. You know what I mean? I've written everything. I've done everything. I'm writing science fiction now. Fuck them. I'm having fun. You guys are having fun. Let's have some entertainment.
Here.
If you're not going to get laid now, there's nothing's going to help you. It's all out there. Everything you need. There's 7 Bob Vilas. I don't care to argue anymore. I don't care to what's the next new? I don't care. Fuck them.
You've done your time in the trenches.
Heartfelt.
Well, I'm here basically just as the resident, batshit crazy historian. I remember just the nonsense, the inanity, the weirdness that comes from the space more than anything else at this point, and just like to point out that nothing's new under the sun. I simply look at everything, time is a flat circle. All of these events have a tendency to repeat themselves. People's behaviors are very systematic. The troubles of the world generally stem from the same people over and over again. People want to try and give each other chances simply because we're kind enough to try to ignore how stupid we are when we make decisions. Women, for the most part, are continuing to ride on the coattails of violent men pointing guns at other men and not recognizing it. None of these things are going to change for you or for anybody else. So what do? You adapt. You look at the world pragmatically, make your choices based upon that. Find some people that you trust. Find a girl that you're really sexually attracted to and who's really sexually attracted to you, and she to you as well. And that's how it works. Everything else out there is just, keeping on to keep on. I'm in my 50s now. I can't provide the energy that these young guys have for the material or for the message that needs to be sent. And we're aging out. Guys like me, Aaron Clary, Rollo. We're at the point now where we would just like to be able to say, hi, nice to see the work you're doing. Everything looks good on our end. Keep up the good work. Peace out. We're gonna go do something else with my time and my energy. And men just have to get together, be like-minded, guard their spaces, gatekeep as much as possible. And, it's a law of power issue in many cases.
That's what the OGC is all about, man. Small groups of men.
Well, it's a appear like others, but think for yourself. And that's the thing. It's, you don't want to play games. You don't want to be deceitful, but in many instances you have to recognize that the world is trying to deceive you in many ways, and you unfortunately have to learn to navigate the world as it is and not how you wish it could be. And that's the hardest truth for most people, is that the world, nobody gets out of this world alive, is the way that it is. And you might as well set things up for yourself and for the other people that you care about in such a way that you benefit from it as best you can. You can care for the people closest to you as best you can, and protect yourself and the others that you love from the influences of people who would rather see you harmed than happy and left alone.
I think that's a great thing to end it on. All right, everyone, thank you for coming by. Be sure. Oh, we got one super chat left that came in under the wire. Let's see. Kryzel sends us $5 with no chat. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you, everyone, for the donations. We'll be back here next week on Monday for American Spirits. Wednesdays, the Chapter House. Thursdays, another episode of Pony Express Radio. Everyone go pick up Ryan's books. You got 2 that came out this year? Man, you're working hard.
Well, not yet. Praxeology 4 just came out on the 1st, and the sequel to Softbone, Ghost of Odessa. Dude, I'm loving these ones. It's so nice to be able to make a fictional representation of the shit that we're going through right now. And everybody's enjoying it who's read them so far. I started a Kickstarter on this one. It's almost reached funding level already, which is awesome. Problem is, everybody wants like a very special edition hardcover that I promised now. So it's going to be more work on my end, but what the hey.
All righty. Cool.
But it's good. I mean, yeah. Once you've done all the non-fictional talking, you have fun with it as a story. This Red Pill stuff is convincing enough in real life that you should be able to make compelling characters.
Yeah.
Plus, apparently conservatives keep saying that men don't read anymore. I'm like, well, maybe it's because we all have horse slop out there. So I actually wrote some books that men would enjoy.
There you go. All righty. Anything you want to point people to, Chesty?
No, just I ship post regularly on X. I'm not a checkmark account. I've naturally grown to over 4,000 followers over the years. I do this for fun and for information that's kind of on a subtweet level in many instances. I guess my knowledge from behind the scenes in many different areas affords me the ability to do those types of things. And I may finally, if I get some time, get around to writing my first fictional piece. I had a series of short stories a while ago about basically a paid service to fight someone from antiquity. So my person and from history that I had always said, if I ever had a chance to fight that person was Henry David Thoreau. I just want to just beat the hell out of him. And so I ended up writing a short story about an entrepreneur creating a company where people could go back in time to specific places and fight the person in history that they despise.
Boy, Ryan, our friend Christopher Sambatch would read that very quickly.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I did three different individuals so far. One was Thoreau, obviously. Another was FDR, a relative of Fred Korematsu, goes back in time and beats the shit out of FDR while he's vacationing in Canada. And so, and the thing about the series, if I end up putting it together, I do a ton of research on where these actual people were geographically in their lives at certain times, so that they can be, authentically in a world that's not necessarily created, but existed at the time where someone would be sent back in order to, meet their nemesis in history. And so it's a mixture of science fiction, history, and just as a man, who have you read about in the past that you would just basically say either it would be a challenge to do so, or you despise the ethics of this person so much that it would just be enjoyable to put a pounding on them.
Dude, that's a banger premise, man.
Yeah, thank you. And somebody will always say, well, why don't you go after, Lenin or Marx or somebody, or, somebody would always want to fight Hitler. I think that sometimes it's more the innocuous ones that either put something out into the world that is just inexcusable or has influenced people in such a way that you don't understand how it makes any sense. That's one of the reasons why I don't like Thoreau. He's one of those romantic people who never was involved in any real romance. Lived his life essentially very, in the abstract. And I am not a big fan of the pontificators over the doers. And so the first story of finding him and beating the crap out of him, it went right to his family's pencil factory in New York before he actually went on his little sojourn to his friend's property and camping and writing about it, and just beat the shit out of him in front of his sister. So just things like that where
well, thanks, Chess, for the 15-minute wrap up.
I'm sorry.
No,
sorry, I didn't want to get into it, but anyway, but that's kind of where my mind is at this point, and I'm hoping to maybe get into that, but sorry for dragging you along on that, but
it's all good. People, yeah, I mean, I'll say one final time on here. I don't talk about the red pill space too much on this show for many of the reasons, because I too was one of those guys who fell for the trap of trying to red pill my friends, as everybody who's been in this scene can
Oh
probably.
yeah, we're a
attest for
shithole. I wouldn't
themselves.
bring it up either.
Yeah. But I will say, if you guys are, looking for some advice on navigating the woes of the dating marketplace these days, there are some of the best places you can go are some of the books that Ryan has written, the praxeology stuff. Take heed to some of the words that have been mentioned on the stream by people like Chesty, Ryan. Listen to the OGs. Ignore all the bullshit fit and fag stuff that you see for clicks. The real stuff is done by the people that don't necessarily get the credit that they deserve. So I would push everyone in those guys' directions. And we'll be here next week. So everyone enjoy your weekends.
When I pass on my good genes to my sons, they're going to join the Old Glory Club.